Content warning. On this podcast, we discuss sensitive issues, including, but not limited to, swearing, tasteless jokes, situations of a sexual nature, and drug use. This podcast is not intended for children. Welcome to BiblioWrecks, where we read the worst stories the world has to offer. I'm Bam Bam.
And I'm Bugs. And this is bad.
Today we're doing something a little more recent than what we usually do.
I have had people tell me on Blue Sky and a couple other like Facebook and other places, oh, I'll listen to it when you have something I've heard of. And I'm like, I don't ever read current stuff.
Right.
I read the random indie authors that I find at Goodwill or stuff that I know is bad.
Right.
But on Blue Sky, a user suggested Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. And I was like, that sounds familiar. And I went and saw the picture and I was like, I've seen that everywhere. I've seen that at Barnes & Noble. I've seen that at the library. I think that's a big deal. I think that's a big book.
I think it was bigger last year because that's when I got had it suggested to me by my aunt.
Yes,
because
it's pretty recent. It's a pretty recent book.
So I actually have had it for like a year and I never read it.
Right.
So I was like, I just assumed it would be good.
I assumed it would be good too.
Yeah.
And the person was like, it's really bad. So I was like, you know what? I have a little bit of time this week. I have some chores I need to work on. Sure. Oh, I'll give this a shot. I borrowed the audiobook, and like I showed you, listening to just a snippet, I think a big chunk of my problem with this book is the audiobook.
Very intense narrator.
The narrator gets way too excited and is extremely expressive, and it was a little too much.
It felt like she was doing an impression of a dad that really needs you to understand something, like forcefully.
Yeah. It was overwhelming to my senses how intense she was, and I'm not used to audiobooks going that hard. So maybe if I had read the book on its own, I wouldn't have been quite as frustrated. The book itself has a kind of funny content warning. It says, Fourth Wing is a nonstop thrilling adventure fantasy set in the brutal and competitive world of a military college for dragon riders, which includes elements regarding war, battle, hand-to-hand combat, perilous situations, blood, intense violence, brutal injuries, death, poisoning, graphic language, and sexual activities that are shown on the page. Readers who may be sensitive to these elements, please take note and prepare to enter Besgaith War College.
Besgaith.
Now, the audiobook said it was Besgaith. That's how she pronounced it. It's spelled Basgiath. Or no, she said Besgaith.
Yeah,
but
so
it's
it would
like,
be Besgiath or something? Besgiath?
I would have said Besgiath.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how much the narrator was coached by the author, pronunciation or anything like that. I have no idea. This book is too long. This book is too much. I do not appreciate this book. This is the first time I'm doing an episode with only one read-through of the book.
Fun. This one was like
22 hours, over 500 pages. And if she had just cut back a little bit on like the adjectives and adverbs, we would have been 200 pages. We don't just look at somebody, our gazes collided.
A bit of an overriding problem.
It's so overwritten. And I saw people talking online about how this is basically fan fiction, the novel.
Fan fiction of what?
All of the other dragon fantasy books that are apparently out there that I haven't read.
Yeah. So already coming in, like having to pass through a filter of other media before you can actually appreciate this one.
Right. And I don't know what a lot of those other books are. I felt like this pulled very strongly from Aragon, and the author is a millennial. So it's quite possible she read Aragon as a kid like we did, and then was like, hey, what if we had like a prequel to Aragon and what their schools were like and that kind of stuff. But you have the psychic connections, you have the dragon choosing the rider, you have a lot of the same mythical ideas, but apparently those are really common in these other novels too.
Yeah.
I wrote at the beginning of my script, this book is a series of tropes surrounded by dragons and lust. My new band name.
Dragons and lust. What kind of tropes? Like character tropes, I assume? What's the main character like? Just
Violet
broadly.
Sorengale is our main character.
Sorendale?
Sorengale.
Sorengale. Okay.
Like Luke Skywalker. She's Sorengale.
That's so fucking lame.
So much of it. The names are shitty. Right out the gate, Sorengale.
What's really funny?
Yeah. She herself is a trope. Barely 100 pounds. She's 5 foot tall. She's pale and tiny. And her hair goes from brown to silver because it always does that. Her
hair goes from brown to silver. Like
Yeah.
throughout the course of the story, or it just does it randomly?
Like just at her shoulders, it goes from brown and turns to silver, and her dragon calls her Silver One.
Huh.
And they try to make it like she's the silver-haired weirdo who looks weird, but everyone else is like, she's so attractive, and they growl while they say it because they're men. Growl.
A lot of growling, I guess.
Oh my God, the growling. I feel like we're stuck in the Edward Jacob love triangle. But instead of Jacob being quite that character, Dane is law-abiding and true lawful good to an extreme extent. And then Xaden,
he's the bad boy.
He's the bad boy that you should not fall for because he's dangerous.
You can tell because his name is Xaden.
Xaden.
Is it spelled with an X or a Z?
X. Oh,
well, of course it is.
Of course it is. So do you remember the host? Remember when we did the host? That was another Stephanie Meyer.
Was I in that episode?
Maybe you weren't.
I don't think so. I know I've listened to it because I did the edit. I think it was
me and
Lily and Amy
did it. Yes, you remember that story. You remember that book, though.
Yeah,
basically. Yeah. The main character is fragile and tiny, and everyone has to protect her. That's what this character is. She's fragile and tiny, and everyone has to protect her. Because she actually has a disability. She has something equivalent to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is where your joints break and fall apart very easily.
Yeah.
You get dizzy, your skin breaks. Like, it's actually technically a disability, and it gets worse over your lifetime. And she has worked her whole life to become a scribe. Scribes in this world are historians and like statisticians and mathematicians. An historian and like they write the things down, but they also, a scribe writing it down means it was true.
I mean, that makes sense. If you've got that kind of mobility issue, it would make sense to take a job as a scribe, writing things down.
And her father was
bending
a scribe,
too much.
Not being physically damaged by your job. Yes. She's very good at it. She's very smart. She can memorize texts. She understands the history of their country. Her father was a scribe. Her mother's a dragon rider. We open up the book with her being forced to go into the Dragon Riders College because her mom says, no child of mine is going to be a scribe. I only give birth to dragon riders.
This looks bad on me that you have this disease.
Yes. However, Violet is 20 years old, and that is the age you go to college. There's 4 colleges, and she has been planning since she was a child to go to the scribe college. Her father kept her in the library with him and trained her as a scribe as a child.
So she just doesn't really have like any background with the dragon rider stuff.
None, except her mom is a dragon rider and her brother and sister are dragon riders. Her dad died a year ago, and that made her mother decide, he can't stop me anymore. You're going to be a dragon rider. I don't care what he said. She is given 6 months to physically train to become a dragon rider, whereas everyone else has been training for this since they were literally children.
And that's all it takes is 6 months of training for her and she gets past her physical disability, is what you were mentioning earlier.
Yes.
That's crazy. So effectively in the book, she doesn't really have a disability? Is that the way it comes across?
It is used as a plot device and to make the men around her pick her up and carry her away from danger. It makes me furious.
Yeah.
They try a little bit to give her accommodations and to make her outwit her enemies, and they just fail to follow through. Okay, if we had set this up, this is what makes me the most mad. If we had set this up, that as a child, she wanted to be a dragon rider.
Right.
She had been mad at her dad for keeping her back. And as soon as he died, protecting her against her will. And she always snuck off and went with her mom. And she always snuck off to be with her sister and watch the dragons and dream about dragons.
Yeah, that'd be one thing.
That would be one thing. They're forcing her against her will to go into this college that kills half of its members before they graduate.
And she's going into it with a disability that just increases the likelihood that she's going to die.
Yes. And her sister is screaming at her mom, she's going to die. And her mom's like, don't care.
I'd rather her be dead.
I'd rather her be dead than
have
be
a daughter,
historian.
A daughter who's a scribe.
Yeah.
Filthy scribe trash.
But she married a scribe. Her husband was a scribe.
Weird bias. Only for your kid and not your husband. That's weird.
So I feel like we couldn't just give this character a weakness. We couldn't just give her she's small. We couldn't just give her she's disabled. We had to also not let her train her whole life. We had to give her the most disadvantage we could. And this is the only way the author could think to do it.
Well, I think another thing, it's probably doing it in such a way that since she spent all this time being a scribe, she can give you, the reader, exposition throughout the story to explain why a certain thing is happening or something like that, I assume.
They try to use her scribeness to make her special and different than the other people.
Yeah.
But it's told, not shown. People tell us how smart she is.
Right. But it's
over and over and over. But honestly, she gets more advantage through nepotism. And being clever. I was really wanting her to be this morally ambiguous person who uses things like goes below the belt, uses things that other people don't have.
Right.
She's given those and doesn't really use them to full advantage. We'll kind of get to it when it happens later. But the book opens up. This is conscription day. Everyone is going to be their thing today. And she's full of anxiety. She can't carry her pack. She gets dizzy walking up the stairs. Oh God, how am I going to do this? I'm going to die. And Mira's like, here, I brought you leather boots with rubber soles because that's what riders wear and that will give you an advantage.
That wouldn't give you an advantage, over other riders?
The first challenge they have to pass to become a cadet is walk across a stone parapet that's 18 inches wide and 200 feet in the air. If they can cross this stone bridge and walk into the college, they get to be a cadet there. So the idea is if you get blown off of a stone parapet, you are obviously not worthy of being a dragon rider and you deserve to die. No one leaves this college voluntarily after you're in. You are forced to die or graduate. Also, they only take volunteers. Supposedly, this college makes a very strict rule. Everyone has to choose to come in because you will probably die. Half of our students die before graduation. Everyone dies.
I mean, it's good, but in this case, she doesn't really have a choice.
She doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And then I look to see what her mom threatens her with, and her mom says, if you sneak out, I will find you and drag you back in by your hair. And she's a general. Her mom is one of the head generals of the army.
Right.
But she's not the queen. She can't actually do anything to her. And we don't feel Violet desperate for her mother's love or desperate for her mother's approval. We just have her full of fear that she's going to die and she doesn't want to do this.
Yeah, her mom is the authoritarian figure, and that's really about it.
But we also don't get the actual result of that in a child who's small and weak.
Mm-hmm.
We would get one who is either very rebellious or who wants to fawn and please her mom,
mm-hmm.
or we get one who's really angry and wants to hurt everyone around her. We don't have any of those psychological impacts of the way this mom is
mm-hmm.
because this character is a Mary Sue and has to be morally perfect at every step of the way.
Mm-hmm. And if your character has a flaw like, oh, I've got mommy issues, that kind of gets in the way of your dragon story.
Yeah, I guess. So I feel like the entire premise of this book is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The setup is wrong. Change some of that. Change these people's motivations, and I might believe it.
Yeah.
So going into this book, I was so confused.
Mm.
Why is she going in here? Because she has free will. There's 4 different lines. Pick a line. Her mom doesn't walk her there. Her sister does, who wants her to be a scribe.
Yeah.
She wants to be a scribe. Take a left turn, go to the scribe line. Instead, oh, mom will just kill me, but she won't actually. So she goes and gets in line for the dragon riders.
Yeah, it's just got to be contrived so the story can happen. So, yeah.
I just don't understand why we have to have tiny, petite, weak, disabled, and has only trained 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why we had to stack so much against her, and she couldn't have any benefit at all.
Or overcome it in like a more believable way.
Yes, it's
Instead
not
of just
believable the way they deal with it.
doing 6 months of physical training to get over a disability. If it was that easy, she could have done that her entire life, right?
Right. And it would have made way more sense to train and physically prepare for this rather than wait until the very last minute. Mira gave her rubber-soled boots because those will help her walk across the stone bridge instead of the leather-soled ones that the scribes wear.
So cheating.
Cheating. She does tell her you're a Sorengale. Cheating doesn't exist. She does.
You're from this opulent family. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Mira tells her there's no such thing as cheating and she's a Sorengale, so fuck what anyone thinks. And she gives her a vest. Well, it's a corset that's in a vest style. She had gathered all of this, because Mira's a dragon rider. She has a dragon. She had gathered all of her own dragon's scales over a year and had another dragon rider who had powers to shrink or expand things. And they used it to shrink the dragon scales down so she could sew them into this corset. So it's impenetrable armor. And she says, wear this all the time. It will save your life. So she wears this corset 24/7. When multiple people try to kill her, the dragon armor stops them. And nobody else has this dragon armor, and nobody else has ever had this idea before. So she has a one-of-a-kind
invincible armor that was just given to her. She didn't do anything to, like, overcome a trial or something like that to get this advantage or anything like that. It was just given to her by her already more experienced sister, yeah.
Yes. So I was like, okay, if we're going to go in this, and nepotism gets a physically frail woman through a physically demanding job or college, that's a cool way to go about this. We actually, she's physically weak, but she gets secrets. She has insider information. She gets boots she didn't know she needed. She gets armor she didn't know she needed. If that's how we're going to go about it, that's fine. But we completely ignore that that's what actually happened. Yeah. And we just, even when someone is like, without the armor, I would have died, or the armor is what saved me, someone's like, more than the armor saved you because you were so amazing. Mira tells her to find Dane, who is the childhood best friend, the law-abiding, upright dork, and tells her to avoid Xaden Ryerson, because he will try to kill you the minute he sees you.
Intense? Are you allowed to just kill other students in the school?
Yes.
Oh.
You are not allowed to when they're sleeping.
How do you enforce that? If you're just allowing murder in your magic dragon college...
People literally do just go murder other people.
Yeah, what's to stop you from dragging someone out of their bed and then murder them? Like, what...
She has the codex memorized, which is the law for the specific school. And it gives you specific times and specific people who are allowed to kill you. And it's only to keep the plot going. It's only written in such a way that she's in danger this minute and not that minute.
Okay, so the reader, like, knows when to be anxious about it?
Because Violet tells us.
Right.
Oh, he's not in my squad, so he could kill me. I'm on the sparring mat, so I could die. I'm not protected here. I could die. And she's very dramatically, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die.
Yeah,
I'm not going to die today, I'm not going to die today, I'm not going to die today.
Telling you the stakes at every point instead of letting you, learn about the world and inferring that kind of thing on your own.
There is no subtext in this book. Everything is spoon-fed to you.
That's fucking annoying. No wonder it's
so
22 hours.
It has to be 22 hours because every minute of every day, she has to tell us what's happening and the stakes and what this means and where it is in history because she's a historian and what rule it's breaking and what part of the codex it is. And it's exhausting.
That sounds fucking exhausting.
It's exhausting. So 5 years ago, there was a rebellion. It got put down by her mom and the other generals. They beheaded or executed all of the rebellion people who were fighting against the king.
Mm-hmm.
The children of those rebellion people were forced into the dragon riding school.
Conscripted child soldiers. That's cool.
They only go in when they're 20 like her. But they're like currently kept at other aristocrats' houses to keep an eye on them.
Right. So it's like a political...
Like a political prisoner kind of thing?
Yeah, something like that.
Basically. Yeah. Like they're being raised from childhood and they know they're going to have to go and be a dragon rider to prove their loyalty to the country. And I think the other idea was, well, most of the students die in the dragon rider quadrant anyway. So most of them will die and we won't have to worry about them. But also, if you become a dragon rider, you're one of the most powerful people in the whole country.
Right. Like, you're basically arming people whose loyalty you don't 100% trust with effectively a nuke.
Yes.
So that's something.
They force the children to watch their parents get executed.
That's fucked up. Yeah. Well, there's your problem right there.
Yeah.
You're setting up these children
to
with
hate you forever.
Revenge stories.
Yeah. And that's why Xaden Ryerson will, of course, want to kill her because her mom killed his dad and his family.
Mm-hmm.
And he is 23 and she's 20. So he's 3 years ahead of her and he's allowed to kill anyone he wants because that's the specific rules in the codex.
Wild.
Yes.
This is a weird way to churn out...
This is supposed to be enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
That's the other trope. That's the big trope. But we never ever see Xaden do anything to indicate he hates her or wants to kill her. We only have Dane, Mira, and other students telling her that Xaden will try to kill her. So she's scared of him because everyone else has said he's going to kill you. Look at that guy. That big, scary, handsome. Look at his jaw. He's so handsome. He gonna kill you. That handsome jaw face, that man, he gonna kill you.
So why wouldn't her siblings have warned her about this? Like, if this is like a pretty well-known thing.
Mira tells her day of. Like, walking onto the bridge.
Right.
You're going to walk in here with other kids who our mom murdered their parents. All of those people are going to try to kill you. Good luck. So we have disability, tiny body, and she's like a target because her mom is the top general who murdered all these kids' parents.
This sounds like a shitty thing to do to your kid. I don't think I would have...
I just think her mom wants to kill her, and she should have just done it in that office, and I could have avoided this book.
Yeah.
That would be such a great fanfic of this.
I mean, you could write that fanfic. It'd be super short.
So short. Mira, Mom, if you send her there, it's certain death. Not as certain as this. The end.
Dragon Magic Blast. Wow.
Okay, she goes to walk across the bridge, and she...
Oh, God, we're still walking across the bridge?
Yes, all of this setup has been before the bridge.
Oh, boy.
We are like 5 chapters in. This is 45 chapters long.
Huh.
It takes hours and hours to finally get into the school.
Yeesh.
She has 2 rubber boots. And the other thing Mira says is, don't trust anyone. They'll all try to kill you. Don't trust a soul.
There's so much intrigue and things going on in the school.
And we have to tell you directly, there's intrigue. Whisper, whisper. And this girl walks up and they become instant best friends. Rhiannon is instant best friend material. That is her only characteristic. And she's like, oh, I can tell you're my super best friend. Trade boots with me because you're going to fall off if I don't share my rubber boot with you.
What?
So Rhiannon and Violet trade 1 boot each.
Are
and
they the same size feet?
No, one's a 7 and one is an 8. Because, of course, Violet has size 7, tiny, perfect feet.
Yeah.
And Rhiannon has huge hunkin' size 8 feet. Because she's the best friend who's fatter and bigger, you know, and more physically strong. She has to protect her.
Sure, I guess.
So they both get across. But along the way, they meet Xaden because he's there helping take roll of who is crossing the bridge.
Yeah.
And he glances at them and he has onyx eyes with golden flakes.
Oh, God, the eye stuff.
Yes, the
I
eye
swear to
stuff.
God. I'm still stuck on the boot thing. Her friend Rhiannon.
Rhiannon.
Yeah.
I trust her.
She's in a size of shoe smaller than...
A whole size down.
Why?
And she agrees to this trade because she's like, oh, yes, your 1 rubber-soled boot will save my life crossing this bridge.
Why?
And my 1 leather boot won't kill you.
Her other... What?
This is to cement her loyalty to her and to prove that Violet is just such a soft, sensitive person, and she helps and shares her boots with the first person she meets.
Okay.
We meet Jack Barlow, whose only characteristic is sadistic evil.
I just hate his name.
His only point in the book is to be evil.
Yeah.
Like walking across the bridge, he walks fast, gets up to the person in front of him, jerks him by the rucksack, and throws him off.
I mean, you gotta have your, my father will hear about this character, so sure.
Yeah, but he's less nuanced than Malfoy.
Really?
Less nuanced and less interesting.
Huh.
His only characteristic is he hates Violet and he's going to kill her. That's the only thing he says to her. The only thing he says to anyone else, I'm going to kill you, Soaring Gale.
He just came in looking for an enemy. Sure, yeah, okay.
She needed an enemy who wasn't enemies to lovers.
I hate you. You're so little and fragile. You're my worst enemy now.
That's how he goes about it, too.
Literally targeting the smallest person there.
Yes.
That's
he says,
crazy.
I'm going to kill you because you're the smallest and weakest. And he goes around wanting to kill things that are small.
Big guy. Sure. Okay. I guess that tells me how big a guy you are. Sure.
They get a little bit of your father killed my brother and your mom killed my dad exposition.
Sure.
Because Xaden and Violet have to establish everything we already know. Mira already told Violet, Mom killed Xaden's dad.
But we have to know that Xaden knows. So
now she gets to Xaden, and he's like, your mom killed my dad. And she's like, well, your dad killed my brother. And we have to do it again. When I say this book is repetitive, I mean fucking repetitive.
Yeah.
It is so... We have to talk about this, how his dad killed her brother Brennan over and over and over and over and over through the book. It comes up multiple times.
Yeesh. Just beating you over the head with it. It's like it doesn't trust you to remember these things.
It does not trust you to remember the last chapter.
Crazy.
I will not die today is her mantra. And she says it over and over and over.
Good
because
mantra,
that's how she survives, is I will not die. So she doesn't. Magical main character.
That sounds easy. I don't know why I haven't tried it.
She finds Dane, and he's like, you can't be here. You're little and weak.
First thing everyone notices, oh, you're so little. Look how little you are.
And he's like, we'll get you to the scribes, because he knows the tunnel to get from the college to the scribes, the place she's trained for and wants to go. And she's like, no, I'm going to stay here. Mom said I have to be here. I stay here.
Why? You don't want to.
And he's like, you don't want to? She's like, Mom said I gotta. He, 5 times, I counted like 5 times, he makes arrangements to get her from the Dragon College to the Scribe College. And he even, at one point, is like your mom won't know.
Right.
I found this guy who owes me a favor who will hide you until you're sworn in as a first year. And after that, she can't pull you out because you belong to someone else.
That's
and
weird.
She's like, I've made it this far. I haven't died. Nah.
Sure.
Which is why I really believe the beginning premise is completely flawed.
Right.
Because she's given multiple chances to leave and go back to the life she loves. And she never takes it.
Right.
But she doesn't have a motivation to stay in the dragon school. She never loved dragons. She never cared about dragons. And she knows that doing this is probably going to kill her. And she doesn't want to die.
Yeah, very strange.
Big surprise. She survives the bridge. She gets in. They're considered cadets now.
Cool.
And this is a college. They have college classes. Everyone is 20 years old. All of the training they have to do in their first year, like for the first several months, I think, is train good enough to where a dragon will choose them as a rider.
Shouldn't one of the earlier classes be like, maintenance stuff, like how to clean out your dragon's scales or how to properly feed your dragon so he doesn't get overweight? Or
You know what I realized when I started going back is they never discuss who shovels the dragon shit. Never brought up. We detail the food she eats for breakfast multiple days. And we never mention who mucks up after the dragons.
Maybe the dragons just go fly off somewhere and they just
dump a load on this town.
Yeah. It's a real problem. That could have added to the world building. Like there's a whole bureaucratic system developed to deal with the random piles of dragon shit that plop down on people's houses and cause who knows how much financial damage.
The other part of this that I don't get is like we have elite military units in the real world. We have the Navy SEALs. If you fail to become a Navy SEAL, they don't murder you.
Yeah.
They let you fail and you leave and you go become something else. This world, they've been at war for 400 years and there's a shortage of soldiers. Instead of just saying you failed out of the Dragon Riders and you get to go shovel shit or go be a regular soldier, they murder them and kill them.
Yeah, not really efficient. Like you could give them like a lesser job, like a Dragon Rider assistant or...
Yeah. Or you're
something.
a squire. I don't understand how the Dragon Riders don't have squires either. Or servants. They really need to have more bureaucracy taking care of these students, and they don't. Also, as much history and writing and all of these, like she gives us how the units of the army are split up, how the leaders of it are named, how many are in each unit. The world building is really shit. I don't know what this place looks like. I don't know what color the trees are. I don't know anything about this world. There's really no actual world building that made me interested in the world at all.
Yeah, I imagine everything's made out of sandstone.
And you would never be told otherwise.
Yeah.
This is opposite to Aragon. A dragon can live without its rider.
Okay.
A rider cannot live without its dragon.
Huh.
And in this world, the dragons are more in charge. They're extremely powerful. They have their own laws. They choose the humans, and they only bond with humans to protect the Vale, which is their territory-specific place where only dragons live.
Why would the dragons need help from humans in this
That's
universe?
the other flaw that I see in this world.
Yeah. Can humans do magic and dragons can't? Is that a thing?
The humans are the channels through which the magic comes out.
Oh, okay. So the dragons just need like a
A
conduit.
pointy finger or a wand. The human is the wand on their back.
And dragons just couldn't figure that one out? Like the dragons are intelligent, right?
Extremely intelligent.
Do they have opposable thumbs?
I don't think so. They needed thumbs. That's the only reason they have humans.
Yep,
They
makes
needed
sense.
thumbs.
Can't do magic if you don't have thumbs.
Right.
Sorry.
Each human who is bound to a dragon develops a unique magic power that's called a signet. Depending on the power of the dragon, that affects the power of the signet. Xaden has the power of shadows. Like shadows can move around.
Because he's a bad boy.
He's a bad boy.
Bad boy in the shadows.
But his shadows physically interact with the world and can kill people, which I call bullshit.
I don't know. I think that's kind of cool.
But that would mean they're not shadows. They're actual physical manifestations of something.
I
They're
mean,
not lack of light.
it's magic. It's fine.
Okay, fine.
Don't explain away the magic. It's fine. It's literally magic.
It's literally magic. Some of them have the power of mending, which is magic healing, where you can go inside muscles and re-knit them together. And that's really rare, but also really special. And her brother Brennan was one of those.
How useful is a dragon rider that all they do is heal? Which I guess you could go heal the other dragon units.
Yeah, that's basically what they do.
Okay.
And they keep them like at the back of the field with the generals, and you haul in the wounded and they stand there and wave their hands and you get healed. Dragons channel the magical power from the earth, and then that gets channeled through the riders.
The riders acting as a catalyst.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole reason that this whole little society built up and they started using humans. We later find out that the people they're fighting against are griffin riders. And griffins also have power, but it's less than dragon power.
But there's more griffins.
Maybe.
Just a guess. I don't know. I just imagine because they're literally smaller.
They are smaller. And also, like, you can burn up a griffin with a blast of flame. So they're not equivalent in a fighting force at all.
Yeah.
I don't understand how this country hasn't just taken over everyone else.
Right.
Their power is so much
years?
bigger. Yeah. To be fighting this other country who only has griffins and griffin riders. And their magic isn't as strong.
Yeah. Maybe they're just much better at war. And this country is just like, oh, we got dragons. We don't have to think about how we're fighting.
Possibly. They also seem really arrogant, and they have something called wards, which are magical beacons that are on their border. And within that border, non-dragon magic doesn't work. So griffin riders literally cannot fly into their land because the griffin magic fails, but they can fly out and attack anyone, and they still have their dragon magic.
That's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
I call it, yeah.
So why wouldn't they have just taken over the whole continent?
Right. All you gotta do is just keep moving your wards out.
Yeah. And like a big deal in the book is how some wards have fallen and people can come into our country and we don't know why the wards are falling. And now there's fewer dragons than there have ever been. And there's more people wanting to be riders. And she tries to build political intrigue, and I don't buy it. I just don't think it's good.
Yeah.
Navarre is the name of the kingdom that they live in. The enemies are called Peromio. And none of that really matters. I think, like, at the very, very end of the book, it kind of matters a little. Like, at one point, they get battle briefs every day because they're a war college. And at one point, Violet and Liam figure out that the cadets aren't told everything because they get a scroll that has details from the front line. And then they're not told that in battle brief. And they're like, oh, maybe they're hiding stuff from us. And it's like, maybe you're first years who don't need to know this stuff.
Right. Or they're doing that in order to find out who is actually paying attention and who notices that there's missing information.
Well, it was a hidden scroll that she wasn't supposed to read, and it fell off her cart, rolled downhill, so she was forced to read it. Because she wouldn't break the little rules.
She's so small, she can't break any of these rules.
She's so perfect.
Who is Liam?
He later on becomes her best friend, or one of her friends.
Yeah.
And honestly, Liam is my favorite character. He's the only one who feels human. She becomes best friends with him, I think, about halfway through the book. Everyone else is either a caricature or they're barely described, and as soon as we get their name, they die. Because we're supposed to have felt something from getting their name.
Yeah.
And then they're murdered in front of her. And she's, and we're like, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, we didn't have any attachment to that character.
I did not have attachment. On the first day of sparring. So sparring is they're physically on the mat. It's generally grappling. Sometimes they have knives. And because they have a mender, if they get seriously injured, they can just haul them to the mender and fix them.
Right.
So there's lower stakes already from physically fighting each other. Her shoulder gets pulled out of joint and her arm gets broken. And there are no blades allowed. They're just seeing how good they are on the mat. Because she's tiny and little.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty obvious to everyone that the 5', 100-pound girl is not going to be as physically intimidating as some of the other people. Especially
since they literally don't have, like, weight classes or anything.
Oh.
They literally will throw in the 6'2", 250-pound men against the 100-pound women and let him beat the shit out of her and just watch until she yields.
Yeah, I can kind of see why this college, or why they're not winning this war. This is a really stupid way to train people.
This is really stupid way. Because it's like, oh, we winnow out the wheat. So why would you make her succeed in this college? You keep telling us one thing, and then you make something else happen, and you expect us to buy it.
Yeah.
Dane is watching, and he sees her get ripped in half, and he jumps in and is all upset because his little baby girl got hurt, and he picks her up and runs her to the mender. And he's like, no, don't mend her, because if she's injured, I could get the scribes to take her. Because he's still trying to get her into the scribes. And she's like, no, mend me, but don't tell anyone, because that'll make me look weak.
So fucking stupid.
She's obsessed with the fact that she looks small and weak. And she hates
so she's
it.
really insecure about her self-image?
Or
her public image, rather?
Yes, the entire time. She's like, I can't look weak. She wouldn't yield until the lady ripped her arm halfway out of her shoulder socket. And the teacher said she yields.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I can't yield on the first day, even though the rules of sparring is it goes until one of you yield.
Right. Well, I mean, now you look weak and stupid.
Yeah, she just looks stupid. At one point, she gets a journal that Mira sneaks into her room. Like, Mira pays somebody to deliver this little journal, and she finds it under her pillow.
Yeah.
This is the journal that Brennan, the oldest brother, wrote, and he kept it at the college. He figured out where the teachers meet and where they keep their notes. And he is able to find out through that who the challengers on the mats will be next week. So he knows who all of his opponents will be next week.
So this is just nepotism cheating at this
Yes.
point. Like, this is cheating that she didn't even figure out.
Right. So then Mira used that to her advantage when she was a student, and now she's passed the journal on to Violet, so she knows who she's going to see on the mats a week ahead of time. And because she brought in her book of poisons, she goes about finding all the poisons on the grounds that she can find, and she, ahead of time, poisons her opponents, so when they're on the mat, they fall over. Not dead, because she's unwilling to kill anyone. She doesn't think she will ever have to kill anyone in this war college or in her job as a dragon rider.
That's really stupid. You're becoming a professional soldier.
Yes.
And you're not willing to kill anyone.
No. So she goes about getting these mushrooms that make someone see things. So then she's able to give them a kidney punch and they fall over. One of them gets vomits all over the place. And so they yield. And I'm like, yes, let's stick with this. Let's make this to where she can actually poison someone while she's on the mat. It's quick acting. Nobody sees it. And people who go and fight her just fall over. And they don't know how. Like, use this. If we're doing this, she's small, she's weak, she can't fight.
Yeah.
Go with it.
Have her doing something clever.
Yes. So I was like, okay, I'm back on board. She's tiny, weak, but we have nepotism and we have poisons. Okay, we're going to go with that. Sorry, hold on. One point, she's gathering...
I always leave the buzz in.
That's me gathering my thoughts. It's the thought bubbles. One night, she's gathering poisons, and she sees Xaden gathering with other marked ones. All of the children of the rebellion got a wicked cool dragon tattoo to show that they're the children of the rebellion, which makes everyone avoid them.
Oh, so they're just the Death Eaters?
Yeah. With a mark that's like a tattoo thing on their arms or whatever. They're not allowed to group in more than 3 at a time because leadership recognizes maybe giving a lot of power to children of the rebellion was a bad idea. And he's been making a little posse of other rebellion kids. And they meet at night under this tree that she happened to be in gathering poisons on. And because Zane has the power of shadows, he knows she's up there. She's like, oh God, he's going to kill me. And he's like, nah, not going to kill you. We're not down far enough our enemies to love or streak yet. But
the feelings haven't gotten intense yet.
Yeah. This is the time if he was going to kill her, he would have killed her. She has a secret. She knows one of his secrets. He is making a little posse of rebellion kids, and she heard him just like, he's like tutoring them and helping them make friends. They're not making wicked evil plans, but just gathering is breaking the rules.
You know who else knows all your secrets?
Meta at this point.
Our sponsors and ads. Hello, bad book loving friends. Just updating our socials. We're on Blue Sky now at bugs-bibliorex.bsky.social. We have a Substack at Bugs and Books, and the profile name is Bugs at BiblioWrecks. And of course, our website, BiblioWrecks.com. Drop us a message and check out the content that Bugs works on. She's really good at the social stuff. And let's get back to that bad book. And we're back to
more sparring?
Yeah. And to discuss our secrets and
shadows.
Become instead of being enemies, we can become
enemies
something
to
more.
Lovers, apparently.
Yeah. And
other people did have that criticism of this book. This is not enemies to lovers done right. This is being told they're enemies, and it's never, ever shown.
Right.
Multiple times he has the opportunity to kill her, the motivation to kill her, and he just doesn't.
Right. Doesn't even attempt it.
Doesn't even threaten her.
Yeah, you could add a murder attempt in there and work your way from there. That's what Avatar, The Last Airbender was. Zuko was, the bad guy, tried to kidnap and murder them several times. And throughout the course of the story, his character gets massaged into eventually a good character.
Right. And I really loved it in that. And this book is so fucking long, we could have done that with Xaden.
Yeah.
Instead, she doesn't know how to write character growth. It does not happen ever at all. She survives and wins most of her sparring challenges using poisons. And each of them is different, so it looks different each time.
Okay.
And she's like, no one can tell. Ha ha ha. Until the last one... She overdosed the person too early in the day because she's been on the lunch line. She's a lunch lady, and she's been dosing their lunches or breakfasts every day.
And no one thought that was suspicious.
No one thought, because she is just so quick. She can just douse it in white powder and no one notices.
Yeah, and everyone's an idiot.
Everyone's an idiot. And nobody else ever thought to do this before her.
Right.
In 400 years. Okay.
I feel like that's a pretty common thing we encounter as characters that are made smarter because everyone else around them is made dumber.
Yeah. She overdoes it on this on this challenge. And because that challenger is held off to the healers, Xaden challenges her. And he's not been poisoned.
And she didn't poison him.
And we need to have a very sexy fight dance thing where he holds the knife to her throat and says, if you don't learn how to fight, you will never survive. And whisper hate, whisper love, whisper, knife at throat, sexy, oh God, he's so hot, oh God, he's so fucking hot.
Yeah, I mean, if you're physically close to someone, those are going to stir up some romantic feelings, I guess.
In this one, it does.
Yeah.
He starts calling her Violence instead of Violet.
That's stupid.
It's really stupid.
I mean, this is cringe.
It's really just cringe. That's the best they could come up with, Violence.
Yeah. I mean, you could just call her the opposite color. You can call her what's the opposite of violet? Green.
The opposite of purple? I don't know.
Someone who knows the color wheel, comment.
She has knives, and this is a knife fight. He has dropped all of his knives at the edge of the mat because he's obviously very superior to her. And he's like, come on, Violence, use all your knives against me. And instead, he plucks all 12 knives off of her and throws them at the edge of the mat.
Okay.
It's to humiliate her and turn her on, apparently. Here's the quote. I can make out every speck of gold in his onyx eyes, every bump and ridge of his scar. Beautiful fucking asshole. My breath catches and my body warms. The traitorous bitch. You are not attracted to toxic men, I remind myself. And yet here I am, getting all attracted. I have been since the first second I saw him, if I feel like being honest. Can you see how the writing is college level, college age level fanfic?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really... There's not really any feeling behind it.
No.
It's kind of just buzzwords.
Yes. I feel like this entire book pulled the correct ingredients out of all of these other novels and swished them together and vomited them out.
Yeah. Got the water and the soup hot, but didn't take any of the appropriate steps for all those ingredients to work together well.
And so much of this is just inane dialogue that means nothing, says nothing.
Also, why would a character that for her entire life has been reminded how physically weak she is and not as strong as everyone else she is, be turned on by someone else humiliating her for how frail she is?
And that is the other part of it. Xaden is making this a show. Everyone is around watching her get humiliated.
And she hates that.
She hates him. She's afraid of him.
Yeah.
He is on the mat, and that's where you're allowed to murder people. Because in the Codex, we have to make the whole thing. She knows he could kill her. He has motivation to still because she knows his secrets.
Yeah.
And instead, she's getting turned on.
It's just dumb.
It's really, really dumb.
Yeah.
And I know that's, all of those movies, I'm going to teach you how to shoot a gun. And the only way to do that is to put my arms around you and my head a little too close to
Or teach them how to do the golf swing or...
He does that with her. I'm going to teach you how to fight and take your hand to my side. And you could have stabbed me here. Or you could have hit me here. Oh, so schmecksy.
Yeah. I mean, just every trope, sure.
Every fucking trope.
I mean, some people like tropes. I don't know.
It just got overwhelming and exhausting.
Right.
And the narrator was so dramatic and so excited.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, just to play devil's advocate a bit, I would rather a narrator overplay it than underplay it.
Generally speaking, true.
Yeah.
This was 22 hours of gasping and growling and yelling.
Yeah, I can see that getting a little tiring.
And then I realized I actually needed to do this as an episode, and I had 2 days to pull it together. So I forced myself to finish the rest of it, and it was way too much. I could have handled this a couple hours a day over a week or two. This, in a short amount of time, was painful. Dane tries to get her to leave to go to the scribes again. That's the only thing he says to her, like, for this whole 6 months or whatever.
It'd be good for you to go to the scribes, yeah.
Now her thought is, but you've made it this far. Notice
the only thing that's kept her in is the sunk cost fallacy.
Now we're at sunk cost fallacy because she survived, I think, 4 weeks or 6 weeks at this point.
Yeah.
And Dane is like, it's only going to get worse from here. They've only been fighting each other. They haven't had to do the other big challenges that kill most of the people.
Now you have to fight the teachers.
It's actually American Ninja, but rocks and logs.
No.
It's called the Gauntlet, and an instructor waves a magic hand, and logs start rotating, and they have to climb stone chimneys and run up, jump, and climb. And it kills loads of people, but she survives.
Because of her rubber boots.
When you're just training on it, there's ropes that will let you back down to the bottom and you can try again. She's been using that to let herself get down. Xaden tells her the right way isn't the only way or something. That is the aha moment she needs.
Is she going to cheat again?
So she cheats.
Okay.
She brings her knives with her and uses them to scale the rock wall or the wooden wall or whatever it is that she kept slipping off of. She's able to run, jump, and get up enough. And then she whips out her daggers and uses them to climb. And technically, no, they're not supposed to have anything except themselves to pass the gauntlet because it is supposed to replicate what you have to do to climb on and stay on a dragon.
Right.
And you're not allowed to use knives to climb your dragon.
Also sounds a little morally fucked up to stab your dragon every time you jump on him.
Amber, one of the other people in charge, is like, you broke the rules. It says only yourself. And she's like, the codex says online this, that technically whatever you walk across the parapet with at the beginning is considered part of you yourself. You can only bring what you can carry in, and then that is considered part of you as a person. So people aren't allowed to steal each other's stuff because it's considered a physical violation or something. So Xaden is like, yeah, it's fine. And because he's the wing leader and in charge, no one can make him not okay it.
Nepotism and bias. Yeah.
Because every time she jumped up, she would fall. And this time, for the real through, they take away the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't climb to the bottom. You have to fall and die.
Yeah.
You either get to the top or you die. That's the whole point of this. And so she gets through and everyone's like, cheater, cheater. And he's like, you did find another
Very
way.
impressive. You
broke some rules. Good job.
You cheated to pass the test. Awesome. Good job.
It really reminded me of like in Harry Potter, he actually isn't that much smarter than everyone else.
Right.
People just keep handing him
under
the table. Here's a key. Here's a map. Here's a cloak.
Now, if there was like a way for her to cheat and be clever about it to where, like if she wanted to keep up her self-image, which we've already established she cares about, or public image, she could come up with like some kind of clever way to make it look like she's doing it correctly or something like that. But if she's just going to blatantly cheat through power of nepotism and your new dark brooding boyfriend is just going to let you pass, then sure.
And Dane is even mad at her because he's like, yeah, you broke the rules.
Yeah.
Like, technically, that was breaking the rules. Everyone else passed this using just their hands. No one else used knives.
Yeah. Like, how's that not hurting her image of herself?
Right. I don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah.
Because they survived the gauntlet, they walk between the line of dragons who are unbonded, who are going to look at them. And if they sense weakness, problems with any of the riders, they can just flame them. And so you have to walk 7 feet apart, make small talk with the other people, get to the end of the line, turn around and walk all the way back.
Yep.
One kid whose only personality trait was being indecisive gets smoked. Someone else who was being catty about the colors of the dragons gets smoked. A couple of the dragons get up close and personal with Violet and like start sniffing all over her. And she realizes it's because she's wearing a dragon scale vest. And she's like, it's dragon scales from my sister's dragon. I promise I didn't hurt anybody. And then they're like, oh, okay, fine, you're fine. It was just to have this, heart-stopping, she's going to get flamed and killed at this point. But no.
Mm-hmm.
And over, it's, oh, God, I'm going to die. Oh, I'm going to die. Today's the day I die.
Even though her mantra is, today's not the day I'm going to die.
I know, and it's exhausting. Threshing is the day that they try to bond a dragon. All of the dragons are in this valley with trees in it, and all of the little people have to run through and try to find a dragon. And if their heart's pulling them toward one, then that one wants to bond with them. But some of them like, oh, I want to go for a green one. I want to go for an orange one. And we go into exhausting detail of how you're supposed to approach the different colored dragons, what they mean, what their tail shape is, and I don't care about any of it.
Is the different colored dragons and shapes and stuff like that, is that like this world's version of what's your Potter house?
Maybe. It's more like, what car are you driving? Is it a red Pontiac?
Oh, okay.
Or horse breeds? It's more, you have an Appaloosa, what color pattern is it?
Okay.
Like, some of them are more powerful, some are more, I don't know.
Use specific or something like that?
It gives them personality traits and prestige. So the type of dragon you get says something about you and puts you on the pecking order.
Okay.
You could be really powerful until you get a dragon, and if it's a small dragon, no one's going to pay you any attention anymore because you got a shitty little dragon. You're still way higher than anyone else in the whole country.
Right.
You're still on the top of the people totem pole, but among the dragon riders, whoever gets the biggest, baddest dragon is the biggest, baddest bitch.
Okay. So I'm assuming Violet's gonna get the toothless version of a dragon in this universe, the extra special rare dragon.
Which is really funny because they're walking between the dragons and surprise, there's a golden feather tail. And nobody knows anything about feather tails because nobody's ever seen them before.
Yeah.
No one's been chosen by one. They don't bond. We don't know anything about them. And it's really super small and gold and pretty. But also, Jack Barlow's like, look at that pathetic piece of shit. It's yellow and small.
I'm going to kill it because it's small.
Yeah. He tries
Idiot.
He tries to kill it because it's small and yellow.
Oh, he does?
He actually tries to.
That's stupid.
Because
God damn it.
That is his only personality trait.
Let's kill the small thing.
Let's kill the small thing. And so I'm like, God damn it. The small, special yellow one is going to be the one she bonds with.
Right.
Of course.
Clearly.
Because it's small and different looking than she is too.
It's not like other dragons.
It's not like the other dragon. It's little and cute. So they're in the valley trying to find a dragon to bond with.
Mm-hmm.
And she hears Jack and his buddies talk about hunting the little yellow dragon because it's small and pathetic and weird.
And an idiot.
And she's like, oh no, I have to save the dragon from humans it can destroy.
Yeah.
I need to go warn it and save the poor little dragon. Which the whole time we have been shown how dragons are more powerful, more intelligent, and more violent than humans.
And can set people on fire.
But right. She is just like, oh no, the poor little baby, I have to go save it. So she runs off and finds the golden dragon and is like, psst, get out of here. Psst.
Gotta prove herself pure of heart or whatever.
She has to be protector of the innocent little baby dragon. And so she gets into a fight with Jack Barlow and his friends who are all 6-foot-tall men. And she throws knives and injures some of them, and Jack runs away because he's a coward. Just when she's about to get killed, the biggest, baddest, blackest dragon jumps down, lands behind her, and is like, I've got this. And it comes in and smites the one guy who's attacking her and the little dragon. And because it spoke to her mentally, it's bonded with her and has chosen her.
Oh, so she got the big dragon.
She got the big dragon that no one's seen for 5 years. And it's the biggest, most powerful on the continent, aside from some generals. And it picked her because she defended the baby dragon and she's pure of heart. And she's so keen and intelligent. She's more intelligent than everyone else. She's so special. Yeah. He bends down so she can climb up onto his back. And then he uses magic to hold her on because she can't stay on his back.
Right. Again, just a gift being given to her. We're
going to break the rules when they're convenient. We're going to make her disabled when it's convenient. We're not going to have days in bed from bruises and broken ribs.
Yeah.
We're not going to be stuck in bed from pain. We only have pain and injury
when it's convenient for the plot.
When it's convenient for the plot, and that is not how disabilities work in real life.
Yeah.
If my PTSD only showed up when I needed sympathy and help or something, that would be great.
Yeah.
They manage to fly back to the big field, and you have to say the name of your dragon, and it gets written on a piece of paper, and that's what makes you a bound rider.
Oh boy, what's the dragon's name?
His name is Tairn, so he's just a normal dragon name. And then she hears a soft, sweet little name, Andarna.
Oh, she double bonded?
She bonded both of them.
Okay.
Because we have to give her the biggest, baddest, coolest dragon and the tiny, special little baby one. And that made me so disappointed.
Yeah.
I thought we were finally going to have something a little different. We expect the little one dragon is the one that bonds her.
Yeah.
Instead, we get the big black one. Okay, that surprised me.
What a fucking cop-out.
And then we have to have two, and all the humans are like, you can't have two dragons. That's not equitable.
Well, there's no rules in basketball that say a dog can't play, so...
And the dragons go off and have a dragon congress, and they're like, there's no rule against it.
Yeah.
It's never happened before, but there's no rule against it. You get to have both of them.
Sure.
So that just makes her double special, because she's not already beating the odds. The most intelligent person in the whole college. She's has to have two dragons.
So she, number one, has a special dragon that's been gone for 5 years. Number two has a special double bond. And 3 has this other bond with a rare dragon that has never bonded with anyone ever before.
Right. Nobody even knows what feathertails are. No one has ever seen one before.
That's just too much going on. I can't appreciate any one of these special special things at all because it's in amongst all these other things happening at the same time. I can't properly give a shit about any one of them.
I want to give a little example when I say this book is repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
All of this information I've been giving you has been laid out in the book up till now.
Mm-hmm.
We're on page 230 of the Kindle version or whatever. Here is a direct quote. Mom forced me into the writer's quadrant. She didn't care if I lived or died as I crossed the parapet. The only thing she cares about now is how my flaws might mar her sterling reputation or how my bonding might further her own agenda. And now she's staring at my dragon without even bothering to look down and see if I'm all right. Fuck her. We don't need you to repeat that your mom forced you into the quadrant.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't add any emotional depth to this moment.
Yeah, it's just reestablishing information we already know.
Yeah.
Like, it literally does not trust you to
remember what happened last chapter.
Yeah.
I think that's the other part of fanfic that has seeped into this.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fan fiction is actually serial.
Right.
You might not know the original story. You might not know where we are at because the person is writing a new little story every week. It's a hobby, and you kind of do have to establish what's going on. It's like little tiny mini stories that happen over and over and over.
Makes sense.
I feel like this book does that, but in every single scene, we have to establish that's Jack Barlow. He wants to kill me. That's Xaden. He wants to kill me. This is Rhiannon, my best friend. That's Imogen with pink hair. She hates my guts. Every single frickin' day. It's exhausting. This book is way too long. Dragons have mates.
Oh boy.
Guess who's mated to her dragon?
Is it Darna?
It's Xaden's dragon.
Oh, god damn it.
Dragon mates cannot be apart for more than 3 days.
Let's just, gotta have something to force them together.
They're going to be forced to work together for the rest of their lives.
Great. Awesome.
And remember how we made this rule very clear, that riders die if their dragons die, but dragons can survive without their riders. We're going to break that rule with Tarn for some reason.
What?
The last time his rider died, he almost died of depression. This time, if he dies, he will for sure die.
Why?
And if he dies, then his mate will die, because mated dragons will die if the other one dies. And if his mate dies, that mate's dragon rider dies, who is Xaden. So now Xaden can't let her die or he'll die, and we have to set up this whole row of dominoes to make him care about her.
The plot is like contriving to force these characters to, like, instead of them just liking each other.
They're not allowed to have chemistry. We have to force them together.
Yeah.
We're going to take 2 Barbies and go kiss, kiss, kiss.
Kiss, yeah.
So then he spends the rest of the book really, really hard trying to protect her life.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, he's only doing that because if I die, he dies. And he's been like desperately in love with her the whole time.
Very weird.
And it's so that she doesn't recognize every little thing he does is out of affection. It's because he will die if she dies and he cares about his own life.
You gotta have that romantic intrigue and can't have anything be too clear because romantic tension and all that, I guess. I hate romantic tension. That's the worst kind of tension.
She is so dense. Other people are even looking at her and saying, Xaden obviously likes you. And she's like, he's only doing this so I don't die. So Tarn doesn't die. So Sigale doesn't die. So he doesn't die. Because we have to repeat this domino every time we talk about it.
That's so annoying.
It's so fucking annoying. I hate this book. We get to page 240, which is almost halfway through the book, I think. And she finally realizes Xaden's not going to kill her.
Wow. It's
Quote.
great. She, all the times that he had the opportunity to kill her with impunity and didn't do it, didn't sell it for you, I guess.
Right. She's utterly dense. Quote, Xaden's not going to kill me. The realization makes my chest tighten, makes me re-examine everything that happened in that field, makes my sense of gravity shift beneath my feet. Because when she's fighting off these guys to protect the little golden dragon, he's standing there watching because he's not allowed to interfere. And he takes like one step forward when he sees she's about to get killed, but he doesn't interfere.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, that step forward means he was going to try to protect me, but he can't.
But didn't.
Yeah. He couldn't from the rules, and he follows the rules. Even though he's established, he breaks the rules all the time.
Right.
And he gets away with it because he's a bad boy.
Yeah, that would be the more important thing to me. Like, he thought about doing it. He thought about stepping in, but decided against it. Like, something is definitely more important to him than you at that point. So,
and even later, she gets pissed off because Dane admits he wouldn't break the rules to save her life. And that, like, destroys her belief in him. And she no longer trusts him because he would follow a rule instead of saving her. But at this point, Xaden's the same way. He didn't break the rules. And he's like, oh, it's because the big dragon showed up and I know he would save you. So it's cool. The big dragon was there, so I didn't have to help you.
That sounds like some contrived bullshit.
Because they're now bonded riders, they each get their individual rooms. They don't have to live in barracks anymore. We can finally start having, like, spice.
Hot, I don't know.
She just starts lusting after him. Every time she sees him, lust, lust, lust. Here's a quote of, like, how it goes. Quote, my gaze snaps to Xaden and my chest tightens. So freaking beautiful. Apparently my body doesn't care that he's as dangerous as they come in the quadrant because heat rushes through my veins, flushing my skin. He's using a dagger to peel an apple, removing the rind in one long curl. And the blade continues its path as his eyes lift, locking with mine. My whole head tingles. Gods, is there any part of my body that doesn't physically react to the sight of him?
How do we feel about apple rind?
I was upset by that. Yeah. It's an apple peel, thank you very much.
Right. Like an orange has a rind.
An orange has
a lime has a rind.
Those are citruses.
Apple has a peel or skin, maybe.
It has a skin or a peel.
Oh, that was the only thing. After you said that was the only thing I could pay attention to.
But this is just not, this writing is not good. This writing doesn't make me feel anything.
Right.
We're telling you her skin prickles, but we're not being shown that he's this amazing. It's so, the writing is just bad. I don't like this book.
Yeah.
After threshing, Dane kissed her on the lips because he's like, you made it. You didn't die. I can like you now. Mwah. And she's like, oh, that was disappointing, which is how we know they aren't meant to be. Right. Even though the book has been trying to convince us they're going to be a couple. Yeah. The book has just been lying through its teeth saying, because he caresses her face and is like, oh, Violet. But they're not allowed to fraternize between first years and second or third years because the second, third years are bound writers who are like, they're like TAs, but they're still not supposed to fuck the younger kids who are just coming into college. The first years are supposed to screw each other. Unless you're Xaden. In which case, you screw the rules. And Dane later comes back and is like, that kiss was a mistake. And she's like, oh, good. And he's like, because I can't break the rules. He's got one character feature. That is his only trait. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know what he eats for breakfast. I don't know how he dresses or does his hair. He's the number one rules boy, though. He only follows rules.
That's kind of, honestly, I kind of like this character. He's funny.
They start flight training, and like the whole goal of flight training is to stay on your dragon's back. And most of them fall off when the dragon flies around a circle, like makes a curve, and because they're not used to being on.
Well, I mean, there's already no stakes going into this because Violet's dragon does magic to keep her held on. So what's it? Right. Who the fuck cares now? That's what happens when you insert this bullshit magic is you ruin all the stakes and there's no reason to give a shit now.
Right. Some of the other dragons let their riders fall and just go like, bye, I'll go pick somebody else now. Because the dragons are shown to not care about human life at all.
Right.
Taryn is the only one who cares about his rider because the last time he almost died of depression. This is the only time a rider has ever mattered to a dragon in their history. And that's the whole domino effect is the only reason Xaden should care about her life either. Normally, he would be hoping she dies so that his pair-bonded dragon could be matched with somebody more relevant to his skill level and where he wants to go.
Right.
Because he's going to be forced to work with her forever now. She's mad at her dragon for using magic to keep her on his back. Because that's making her look weak. And we're not just going to accept an accommodation and say she's being accommodated. She has a disability. She cannot strengthen her thighs this well. Her hips are too weak. She can't hold on. We accommodate her, moving on.
So it's fine when you accommodate yourself by cheating using knives to climb a wooden wall, but it's not okay when someone else is using magic to keep you held on because you're physically too frail to do it for like same reason, but when she chooses to do it, it's different. When someone else is doing it,
it's an insult to her
right
core. And the only way we can justify this is she says, if you keep holding me like this, your energy will go into keeping me on instead of channeling when we need power for battle, I argue. It's a minuscule amount of my power, he says.
So does it actually come to matter at all?
No.
Okay, so they're just So
she says, oh, if you hold me on using your pinky finger amount of magic, it will be the worst thing because you won't have that pinky in the fight.
So
and he's it doesn't matter. It is such a small amount, I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
He just used magic to lock her legs in. And she's like, how the hell am I supposed to be a rider if I can't stay on my damn dragon by myself? She has decided she is going to live or die by this ability to stay on her dragon.
Sure, hopefully die.
He says, have it your way. The bands fall away. Thank you. Shit! And she falls off. And he grabs her and picks her up and throws her on his back.
Well, he's accommodating her again. He should just let her go.
Because she says, I can't be a dragon rider if I can't hold on. She can't hold on. And it says, I fall again and again and again. And that was day 1 of flight. Later, they talk about how she would fall up to 30 times a day at the beginning. And she greatly improved by getting down to 12 falls in a day of flying. He's wasting time by having to grab her in his talons, toss her into the air, and catch her on his back, which I think would take a lot more attention and concentration.
The mild amount of magic he's using.
Than the tiny amount of magic he's using just to lock her in.
Very silly.
And that's where I just don't see. Some people think this is a really good disability recognition in this book, and that having a character who looked like them was really beneficial. If that was how you read this and you thought it, that's fine. I feel like we're only using her disability as a plot, and we're not showing how it would actually impact her life. She's shown to be on a first name basis with menders who have been mending her since childhood. And she needs them less now that she's in a school where she has to physically fight with people.
And went through
every
6
week.
months of PT.
6 months of training to start this. And he's like, why aren't your thighs stronger? And she's like, oh, I didn't think I'd make it this far. She didn't bother trying to even practice holding a saddle between her knees before climbing onto a dragon because she just assumed she'd be dead. But all along, she has said she's training, she's trying, she doesn't want to die.
Yeah, and she keeps actively making the choice to stay here, even though she's had several outs.
Multiple outs.
Yeah, and
the only person who would be upset by her leaving is her mom. Everyone else in her life would support her leaving.
Yeah, and she doesn't care about her mom.
Right.
She said,
and her mom obviously
"Fuck you,
doesn't care
Mom."
about her. So the signet power is something that doesn't happen immediately. It happens as your bond strengthens with your dragon.
Yep.
And that's why being newly bonded puts you at risk, because if another person kills you, your dragon will probably just be happy to get someone else.
Yeah.
Sawyer is the first to gain his signet. His power manifests as bending metal. So he's in a sword fight with someone and he's way off course and the sword bends and stabs the guy. Which I thought was cartoonish and funny.
Cool. I mean, I keep wanting to say how cool metal bending is, but I just keep wanting to say, oh, that's really metal, and I'm better than that.
It just makes me think of like a Mickey Mouse cartoon or something, but it's pretty funny. Yeah. And he's like scared of the fork he's using to eat lunch, and that was also funny.
Is he afraid he's going to like bend it into his
Because they don't have control of their powers yet. They get the powers, and then they don't know how to control them, and they have to spend months in practice using their powers and then getting used to them, and then controlling them.
Yeah.
One kid gets the power of like psychic, like telepathy. He can hear people's thoughts, and he immediately gets killed because that's a forbidden power.
Why?
Because they're a war college and secrets have to be kept secret.
Send him to the spy college.
Which I was
That's why they're losing this war.
I know. They're so worried about protecting their own secrets. They're unwilling to have someone who can listen in on everyone else's.
That's fucking dumb.
Literally, this guy is like repeating what people's thoughts are, and he does it with Violet too. And she's like, oh, that's how we find out he's an intrinsic and can see their thoughts. And literally, a professor comes in, looks at him, and goes over and just breaks his neck. And it's like, why? Why would you go through all of this training? You bond a dragon, and then you can get killed if you have the wrong power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why do we kill off so many people in this school? It doesn't make them stronger or better.
Right.
It really doesn't.
Fascism.
We finally have the actual attempt on her life. One night, she's asleep, and she gets awakened by Taryn talking in her head, wake up, wake up, wake up. She finally wakes up. She gets up, and there's 7 people in her room because she's tiny and little, and she has to outsmart 7 people, right? Because she's has to overcome. Jack isn't among them because he did get a dragon, but Jack's friends are with one of the friends who was in that fight on the field is with them.
So she's just getting beat up by the scrubs.
She's getting attacked by the ones who didn't get dragons, who are hoping that Taryn would be impressed and bond one of them. One of the people who was in the room runs away and closes the door. And you're not allowed to kill people when they're asleep in bed. That's one of the rules of the Codex.
Right.
And everyone has a lock on their door that doesn't let other people, like, unbonded walk in. And the person who ran away was the one who had power to unlock her door. She finds some knives. She throws some knives. And then Oren is the one from the field, and he picks her up by the throat and holds her there.
Okay.
So she's gonna die. Oh my God, we're gonna die. Oh, I survived this far. I'm gonna die. Because we have to do that every single.
Right.
Taryn has been saying, hold on, he's coming. Hold on, he's on his way.
Is it Zayden?
It
obviously
is, but before Zayden, like, gets to the door, she hears Andarna talk to her. And Andarna is like, now or something, freezes time. So Andarna freezes time for everyone except for Violet. And she's able to, like, get away from him, walk toward the door, and then time resumes. So it looks to everyone else like she moved super fast. And then Zayden comes in and sees that she's, like, cut up and bruised and whatever. And he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you all. And so he does. And then his buddies, who are all also rebellion kids, come in and help dispose of the bodies and haul them out. And he grabs her, drags her through a tunnel out to the flight field so they can meet with Andarna and Taryn and Sagaeth to find out what happened. How did she move so fast? How did she escape 7 people killing her? This is where we find out Andarna is a baby dragon. Feather tails are what their tails look like before they grow into adults and their tails develop a shape, like Morning Star, or all of them have weapon names. I can't remember.
So she's bonded to an underage dragon.
Yes. And that's never, ever allowed to happen.
Yeah.
But Andarna was orphaned.
Baby dragons can't properly consent.
And that's why they're not supposed to do this. But it's because Andarna was orphaned, and she said she wanted to come along. And Sagaeth says she never would have let Andarna come along if she thought she would actually try to bond, because toddlers can't bond. It's like giving a toddler a machine gun. And they can't use a signet to channel power. They can only give their powers to riders. And if humans knew that, they would just wipe out the dragons by trying to take all their babies and take all their powers, and there'd be war between everybody. But because Violet is so pure of heart, heart, they trust Violet.
She's cheated so many times.
So now she has a superpower, an actual true superpower of stopping time, but she has to drain Andarna to where Andarna has to go nap for 3 days after this. But because Andarna...
She's a baby as a battery?
Basically.
That's fucked up.
But Andarna's supposed to have been the one who, I choose you, I gave it to you, I trust you. And so that makes it okay, even though she's very explicitly shown to be a toddler.
Yeah.
And everyone is like, yeah, this shouldn't have happened, but the dragons didn't stop it. And I'm like, they should have.
Right.
Back when they had that Congress of Dragons, they should have stopped it. You should not let a toddler do this.
I feel like it's a case of she didn't think about this until that was already passed, and then afterwards decided that this is a baby dragon and it's going to do this crazy thing. Or whatever.
We needed reveals, but then that make previous points really odd and confusing. She kind of starts trusting Xaden now.
Sure.
Because Taryn tells her to. Taryn is like, trust her.
Well, that's how trust works,
And she's like, fine. So she admits to him that she has the dragon scale armor, and that's how she wasn't literally chopped in half when the sword hit her. Because he's like, that's a dull sword. If they tried to chop you in half, because her nightdress is cut in half. This guy tried to chop her up.
Yeah.
And it didn't succeed because she has on this dragon armor that's super special and secret. Xaden is like, I have to fix this. Everyone's trying to kill me by way of this girl. And so everybody who owes him favors has to protect her now. Imogen owes him, so she has to train Violet. Liam owes him, so Liam has to become her bodyguard, moves into the dorm next door, and follows her around everywhere. And this has just become protect Violet at all costs now. And that's the story going forward.
I'm wondering if that is kind of how disabled people would feel in this situation, because it feels like she's still continuing to be treated as disabled, I guess.
Right. And maybe that's the author's lived experience, is that you want to feel protected and you want people to interfere and take care of you, give you accommodations that you didn't ask for, and do these things.
Well, I feel like she's trying to have her cake and eat it too. It's like she's trying to have things set up in such a way that this character who is disabled like this is taken care of, but doesn't want to feel like the burden is on her. She wants it to feel like the burden is on Xaden because he's looking out for himself to a degree. It's in his best interest. It's kind of shifting the
onus onto him.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of just onto her. And I feel like that's more what it's about. And I feel like that's a weird thing to try to do, is try to shift what might be perceived as a burden onto someone else instead of learning to be okay with that kind of thing, or accepting your limitations to a degree.
I don't know. And this is where I got
it's really muddy.
Bogged down with, is she supposed to be a badass who fights her way out of stuff? Is she supposed to be weak and small and helpless? We're treating her like she's weak and small and helpless, but Xaden is constantly saying, you have to get stronger. You have to fight. I'm not going to coddle you. And Dane is like, you need to go join the scribes. And Xaden's like, stop coddling her. And so they're fighting each other because Dane wants her safe and away, and Xaden wants her safe here by fighting back and being physically strong. And she herself has no internal motivation except I don't want to die.
Yeah.
Which I feel was at the beginning when I said if she'd always been held back by her dad, if she was a scribe and she didn't want to be, and she'd been secretly fighting and secretly getting good and getting fast.
Yeah.
And then finally she's released and she can do this and she's going to show them, that motivation would make sense.
Yeah.
And this one does not.
Yeah.
Because Amber was the name of the girl who opened the door for the Unbounded, Violet tells Xaden that was the name of who opened the door. Because killing a cadet in their sleep is against the rules. Amber broke the rules by unlocking the door for them. Xaden already killed everybody else. Amber has to be punished for breaking this rule, and the punishment is death. The only punishment in this school is death.
Yeah.
I never read anyone having toilet duty or dishwashing.
Miss your homework? Yeah. Take an extra cupcake in the lunch line. Death. Wow, that really brings a new dimension to the old Eddie Izzard thing. Cake or death?
Yeah. Xaden believes her. Dane does not. Because Amber is Dane's friend who is like on his same level. He's like, she would never break the rules. Because that's all he cares about. And Xaden just believed her because he just trusts her and doesn't trust other people for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Dane's power is reading short-term memories by touching your head. So he has Spock powers. He can touch your face or touch your head, and he can see recent memories.
So this psychic ability is okay.
This one is okay because it only works if you touch somebody. But to me, that still doesn't make any sense, because what if you are able to touch a general accidentally and he doesn't notice?
Right.
Or something.
Or that would just give you like an incentive to be like an assassin or something like that. You grab somebody, get their latest memories as they're walking out of some secret meeting or something like that, and then you stab them.
Yeah, it's really...
So I don't know what the effective difference between, like, it's not as easy as just direct telekinesis, sure, but...
Right. So this telepathic power is fine. That one was not. And he doesn't believe her, so he reaches for her head to get her memory. But if he gets the memory, he'll know about the feather tail and how she's a baby and know about the secret tunnel that Xaden showed her.
Know that she's a dragon pedophile.
Know that other stuff happened, I guess. And she's like, don't touch me. And so instead, she gives the memory to Tarn, who gives the memory to the other dragons, because all the dragons are psychically connected. And the other dragons all agree that her memory is true, and it was Amber, and so they flame Amber, and she's killed.
Okay.
This makes
Do you even need a reason? Like, no one has needed a reason to kill anybody before.
Right.
Why go through this trial?
I think this is just to drive a wedge between her and Dane.
Right.
Because we're still supposed to think her and Dane are going to be a thing. Even though they kissed and it was not romantic to her. And he said they can't be together because that would break the rules.
Right.
And we're just trying to make them less friends. But the only thing he's done the whole time is like, you need to leave. You need to be a scribe. Tell us that they're friends, and they never show it. They tell us that she and Xaden are enemies, and they never show it. We start to get to the kind of weird overprotectiveness now, and it really reminded me of Edward Cullen, I'm watching you sleep, kind of thing. And it's because he can control shadows, so he has shadows everywhere, and they listen in on everything.
Watching her at night.
So he's always watching everything.
Creepy.
They talk about like her door, and Liam tells her, he warded your door the morning after the attack. His expression clearly says I should know this. I'm guessing he didn't tell you. He what? He warded your door, Liam says quieter this time, so only you can open it. Shit, I don't know how to feel about that.
Why isn't that standard?
Huh?
Why isn't that the standard?
It should be the standard.
Right.
Because if you're not allowed to kill someone in their sleep,
then nobody needs to be in your room unless they're invited.
And which would mean you should be the only one able to open your door.
Right.
So that part didn't make sense, but he's giving her extra protection that everyone else doesn't have.
Because she's special.
Shit, I don't know how to feel about that. It's more than slightly controlling and way out of line, but also sweet. And I'm like, either this is a common sense, helpful thing, or it's controlling. Controlling and sweet is not a good combo.
Yeah.
And he should have just asked if she wanted that. So that part is like protecting her without telling her is weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is more on the controlling.
Because he placed the ward, he can come in too. He warded it so only she can get in, but because he placed the ward, he can get in too.
Yeah, that's not okay.
And Liam is like, but it's not like he's going to kill you. And she's like, right. You see, I'm still adjusting to that little change of heart, that he's not going to kill her. We keep mentioning over and over, I'm so surprised he's not trying to kill me.
Right.
I'm so surprised he didn't kill me.
Just beating a dead horse.
When we've already established the domino death effect.
We get it.
Pages, chapters ago.
Yeah.
We get pages and pages and pages of how hot he is. He's hot. Did you know he's hot? He has a jaw.
I've heard he's hot.
He has an amazing jawline.
Big
he
jaw?
has muscles. Muscles. Big muscles. The dragons decide she's ready to gain her signet, and so she gets power, but it takes a long time to manifest it for some reason. We're going to give her the power, but she can't use it yet.
It's going to come in at a very plot convenient moment, I'm sure.
The reason we decide to channel her power is to open the psychic connection stuff between her and Tare and her dragon.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thought they already had like a psychic thing going.
This is more.
It's double psychic, extra psychic.
Yeah.
Uber psychic.
Because that night, he goes off to mate with his lady dragon. And she gets horny as a hot cat and starts trying to climb men. Poor Liam is right outside her door, and she's like, oh my God, he is cute. I never noticed he has blue eyes before, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I'm going to bed. Goodbye. Because she's like, lusting. I have to get outside. I'm so hot. Oh. Yeah. And she gets outside, and Xaden is smoking weed, because that's the only thing that helps when the dragons are at it. Because he gets it from Sagaeth, but not as bad, because he can build walls in his head. So whenever the dragons are horny, their humans are horny. But we never talk about that with anyone else. Right. And the generals are never talked about this way. No other student brings it up, and no other student has this problem. She gets it so that she can go try to climb Ryerson like a tree. Because Xaden is hot. Did we mention how hot he is?
I think I heard it from someone.
And she's like, oh my God. And he's like, dude, this isn't you. The dragons are fucking. And he does kiss her, and then he's like, go to bed. And she's just less. And so she goes back to bed.
All these signals, they're so mixed.
Because now is when we're finally establishing in the book they're going to be a couple.
Sure.
Even though this has been signaled the whole time.
Yeah.
She's been thinking how hot he is since the moment she met him. Oh, and before he sends her off to bed, he's like, this is how you mentally create a wall between you and your dragon so that their emotions don't impact you as bad. And she learns how to do it in 2 minutes flat, and he's so impressed because she's so good at it.
Wow, it's crazy.
I know you didn't read like all of the Twilight books, but in it, Edward is psychic. Like he can hear people's thoughts and all that, right? Bella's power at the end of the book, they realize was that she has a shield in her head all the time. And that's why Edward can only not hear her thoughts. And her power, she's able to expand the shield so that Edward can hear her thoughts. And that makes them have extra sexy sex at the end of that book. And this just makes me feel like we're having to do these psychic mental blocks, and she's oh so good. And I just feel like this author read Twilight and Aragon and was like, how can we mash all this together?
Yeah, what a fanfic going on is what it feels like.
So much. I'm skipping so many quotes I highlighted because they don't matter. None of this matters. This is where she out-trains her disability and is no longer disabled because she worked out hard enough.
Oh, this is the point where she out-trains it.
Yeah. Because you know all those people telling you that yoga and a clean diet will fix all of your problems? Apparently, that's how it works in this world.
Cool.
Quote, by the third week in January, I earn yet another dagger in a challenge against a guy in third wing. My second, without weakening my opponent with poisons. It leaves me with a sore wrist, but my joints are intact. So we're just abandoning cleverness. We're abandoning nepotism. That was enough to get her through the first part of the book. And now we're just going to say she can out-train her problems. And that was her problem all along?
Is that she didn't try hard enough.
She didn't try hard enough?
Yeah, if you've got a disability, it's because you didn't try hard enough.
That's how
you should have done push-ups about it.
That's how it feels, and I was very disappointed.
Yeah.
This part was like, I don't think that's true, especially if it's Ehlers-Danlos. I read about it. I don't think it's degenerative quite like MS, but those joints don't really get stronger. You can make your muscles stronger.
Right, and you have to do it in like a very specific way.
And a very careful way, not by getting your shoulder yanked out of its socket repeatedly.
Yeah, like you just, when you work out, if you've got Ehlers-Danlos, you can't do like full range of motion stuff because that puts a lot of strain on those joints. And so you have to do like short range of motion and keep all the pressure on the muscle.
Yes. And like she mentions being hyper flexible.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, Zayden's like, how do you put this corset on by yourself every day? And she's like, oh, I'm just hyper flexible like that. Like, she's literally putting herself out of joint to put her own corset on.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not going to be beneficial to you long term either. Because she still has knowledge of who her future opponents will be, she figures out that Jack Barlow, the one who wants to kill her, the one who really hates her, is going to be her opponent next week, and she doesn't tell anyone. Because they're not supposed to stop challenges.
Right.
If you're on the mat with someone and you're sparring, no one's really supposed to do anything. So she doesn't tell Zayden or Dane. She waits until the moment she's going to go and fight him to tell Liam that she's fighting Jack Barlow that day. And he's like, oh shit. So he runs off to go get Zayden, because having them both out of the room means that Jack Barlow can rip her to pieces and there's no men to rescue her.
Mm-hmm.
She had found out previously that he's allergic to oranges. So she gets a little glass vial with orange juice and essence. Like,
pours it on herself?
No, she keeps it in a vial in her hand and at some point smashes it in his mouth.
Huh.
But she waits until he's ripping her to pieces, and he breaks the rules. He throws knives when you're not allowed to throw knives. He uses his power to create pain in her body.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's his power.
He's got to be the bad guy first to justify our hero also doing a bad thing.
Maybe.
Or doing a cheaty thing or something.
But she's been cheating all along.
Right.
You don't need justification. He's told her he's going to kill her 15 times by now.
Yeah.
And he literally, he is jolting her with magic electricity so hard that when two other people go to grab her and pull her off the mat, they get electrocuted too. It's just to make her a victim of Big Baddie.
Right.
So she manages to smash the vial in his mouth, and he starts going into anaphylactic shock, which ends the fight.
Like, I know he's using magic to, try to kill her, but inflicting an anaphylactic shock on somebody.
But also, why wouldn't you just use that at the beginning of the fight? Why would you let him destroy your joints, cut you up, and break you in half, and then do it? So then she's losing consciousness on the mat, and she's like, oranges. He's allergic to oranges. Ugh.
Why tell anybody?
So that they could fix him and not let him die of anaphylaxis. Why wouldn't you just let him fucking die? Why are you poisoning these people?
He keeps trying to kill you.
You just need to let him die. You need to just kill him and be over this.
Which I guess she's just dedicated to that goal of just not killing anybody, even though she's a soldier.
Going to war, going to battle.
Yeah, we've already talked about that.
I know. But it just keeps coming up over and over and over.
Right.
Because Jack nearly killed her, Zayden is like, oh yeah, when you don't weaken your opponents ahead of time, they kill you. I'm going to train you now. So he double trains her, and then Imogen takes her and makes her work out weights. So she's working on the sparring mat. She's going to flight school, and then she's doing weights every day. And all of this is not causing intense physical pain. Mm-hmm. This is not landing her in bed.
Yeah.
It's literally, she's out training her disability. She says he takes her to her limit every day, but never past it, because he magically knows what her limit is and what will cause her to gain muscle and not die. Mm-hmm. He just is... I hate this whole book.
Yada yada.
They have a squad battle, which is a challenge.
Squaddle.
All the little different units have to find one thing in the war college that would allow the enemy to win the war. They each have to think of something that would be war ending if the enemy got it. She's clever, and she's a general's daughter, and she knows her mother, the general, has a map with all the updated locations of spies and units and outposts and all those things on her wall. So she leads her unit, and they sneak into her mom's office and cut the map out of the frame and haul it back, and they win.
Cool.
Fine.
Yeah, what else?
But winning the squad battle allowed them to visit this barrack along the front line somewhere. And it's supposed to be a super special place that nobody would attack ever. And it's so that they can go get some experience of what it looks like to actually be on the field. They fly out there. Oh no, the dragons can't be apart for that long. So Zayden shows up, and Mira, her sister, is stationed there. And she's like, you need to watch out for him. He's son of a rebellious person. Oh. And they have sister time. And it's just to be sister, yay, we love sister.
Filthy rebel scum.
Basically. She's like upset because obviously Violet and Xaden trust each other now. And they're obviously got the hots for each other now.
Right.
And it's just to allow Mira to be like, I warned you about him. You didn't listen to me. And of course they get attacked because we need excitement. And this part, I don't understand. Everyone is like, get the students out of here.
Yeah.
You're students. You need to leave. You were here because it wouldn't be attacked. Now that it's attacked, you need to leave. She screams and throws a tantrum that they want to make her leave because she wants to stay and fight with Mira, the person that we know is unwilling to kill anyone. Because if she abandons Mira, Mira would never abandon her. And how could she live with herself if Mira died? And they literally pick her up like a tantruming child and throw her onto Taryn's back.
Yeah, because if she's not going to be willing to kill someone in this battle, then she's going to be a liability.
And she's also a first-year student who doesn't have, like, control of powers or anything.
Yeah, and is obstinate to the point of stupidity.
And it's like, you are not emotionally mature to be a soldier at all.
Yeah.
You are not emotionally mature to be in a war college. I cannot believe they let you get this far with this attitude of being a pacifist and being this connected to your family. They should not let you be stationed anywhere near your family. In fact, your mother as a general is a liability here if this is how you behave.
So, my question, is this when her signet shows up?
No, I think it's the next squad battle they have.
Okay, squad.
I thought it would too, but instead, she and Xaden kiss because this is the time when they're getting attacked and she's screaming and crying that he's like, oh my God, you're so hot.
Yep, now's the time. Yep.
Now's the time that
not when we were relaxing and he was high and the dragons were fucking.
Right, because this author has decided no situation is inappropriate for tongue. We're getting attacked by Griffin riders and we're crying. Tongue. That is the answer.
Yeah. I just happen to agree, sure.
We find out when she's talking with Mira, she still can't hang on to Taryn. She still falls off every time she flies. She
still won't let her dragon hold her on.
And she wanted to stay and fight and protect her sister.
Yeah,
who
while
has
falling
been
off
in the army for years.
And being a liability. Like, she's going to fall off her dragon. Her sister's going to go to save her, and then she's going to get stabbed in the back or something.
Yes. This character is so immature. This is not how a soldier would act or behave or think. This is how a child would behave.
Right.
Have I told you that they can psychically chat together now, her and Xaden?
I don't know why why are they able to do that? Because their dragons are linked?
Yes.
That's stupid.
If you had the power to psychically chat at somebody, would you just use it to arouse them during breakfast to watch them squirm? Because that's what she does. Childish and immature, right?
I mean, I am childish and immature. I would do that.
And it reads like texting.
Yeah.
Remember like old school texting where you would try to get your girlfriend horny and be like, oh God, I'm so wet right now. That's what she does to him. And he's like, I'm up here trying to deal with leadership and do a meeting. And she's like, I would kneel down and suck on you. And he chokes on his breakfast.
Why doesn't he just use his psychic shields?
Because they're inconvenient for the plot at this moment in time.
Do they just not work on psychic IM? I don't.
They do other times.
Yeah.
They don't. I don't know.
That's fine.
This is when they have some battle game. It's like Capture the Flag. They are going after this egg, or crystal egg or something. It's worth so many points.
Sure.
Very Harry Potter. And they have a flag and they have to protect their flag while they go get the thing, blah, blah, blah. They're all going out to the field to get on their dragons and do this war game. And there's a saddle on her dragon. And she's offended.
Why has no one ever thought of a saddle before this? I just assumed saddles were already... I didn't even think about saddles not being on there.
They've been holding on to bareback scales the whole time.
That's dumb.
It's very dumb. And apparently every other dragon except Taryn is too proud to allow a saddle to be made or put on them. And he's the first one to care about his rider and allow a saddle to be made and placed on him. And she's fucking offended. This will make me look weak.
You know what else makes you look weak? When you fall off your fucking dragon every time you get on it.
And she's been complaining about how he can't use his powers to keep her on because that will weaken him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is an accommodation. You need to just accept it.
Yeah.
You have an accommodation. They're looking out for you. It's fine.
Can you imagine, like, let's say someone had like some sort of disability with their legs or something like that, and they were afraid of how it would make them look if they were in a wheelchair.
I mean,
and like I understand the insecurity, but just being too obstinate to accept it makes you look so much weaker and stupider.
And like I understand, it does feel shameful to have a weakness, have a disability.
Yeah,
it really
absolutely.
sucks.
That's totally valid to be insecure about that kind of thing.
This is also something she's been dealing with for years. This isn't a recent disability. This is the most logical, sensible thing anyone could do to keep her in her seat.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this is the only thing she can't out-train.
Yeah.
And it just feels like we're having to have the men come in and rescue her, because Xaden is the one who designed it and built it.
Mm-hmm.
Taryn is the one who is allowing a saddle to be on him when no one else allows it.
Mm. Well, if the author had written it so that she designed this herself,
that would give her
that gives her her own autonomy in the situation for it to be okay for her. And on top of that, it would be like, she would just like ask the dragon, can I put this saddle on you?
Then the dragon
he would
can
accept
just
it.
consent.
Yeah, he could just consent to it. And then on top of that, when it would be like a big fashion statement kind of thing when everybody else saw her on the dragon with the saddle.
Right. I don't understand why we have to shit all over it.
Right.
So she's pissed because they made her a saddle and she's mad. Here's what Xaden says to her. Fuck, that stubborn, feisty look always makes me want to kiss you.
Really? That's what does it?
She's pissed off, and now he's like, oh.
This is so fucking lame.
Fruit as fuck. They do their fight battle thing. Jack Barlow goes to kill Liam because he's just hellbent on killing everyone around him. And this is when she finally manifests her powers. It's lightning, and she strikes the tower that Jack is on.
Fine, sure.
Lightning is so special. We haven't seen it in 100 years. You'll be the
course.
most powerful on the whole continent.
Fucking Rick Riordan isn't even this bad about Percy Jackson.
I know.
Like, he was willing to, like, have some limitations and flaws on his character, and it was a fucking children's book.
Yeah. That was written so much better than this.
Yeah.
And we did an episode on that one.
Yeah. I love that. I love that book series.
He's done a lot of other new stuff that I think the kids would like.
Yeah.
So then she finally kills Jack, the man who's tried to kill her, the man who tried to kill Liam, the man who tried to kill her. He killed all these other students. And she has a nervous breakdown because, oh my God, now she's a killer.
Woo. Like, you could like add some motivation to that. Like, if her dad, what was it her dad died of? Or what was it said?
Heartbreak. Her dad died of heartbreak because her brother was killed 5 years ago. And he had heart palpitations after that and finally had a heart attack a year ago.
Sure. You could have, like, made it so that he died of, like, maybe got mugged, or maybe it was some sort of political intrigue or something like that. Someone that wanted to get at her mom through her husband or something like that assassinated him. And now she's got, like, this strong moral judgment against murder, something like that. But she's just like, nah, I just don't like killing. I don't like it.
I'm not going to be responsible or take responsibility or think through what my job is now. What kills me, though, is how repetitive this author is. Chapter 29, quote, killed him, I killed him, quote, lightning I used to take a life. Next page. First thing I did with it was kill a man. Paragraph later. The one that killed Jack. Paragraph later. I killed him, I whisper.
You're a living atomic bomb. I don't know what you expected to do with your power.
2 paragraphs later. I killed him. 2 paragraphs later. You killed Barlow. I nod.
God.
Next page. And what the hell am I, Xaden? I'm a fucking weapon. 3 pages. 12 references to the fact she killed Jack Barlow.
You're riding a super weapon. What the fuck did you think was gonna happen? What?
And she's like, I wanted to be a mender like Brennan and bring the world all together and fix all of it. And it's like, you have had no choice over any of this. You might not have even been chosen by a dragon, because that happens too. Dane rushes in and tells her she doesn't have to use her power if she doesn't want to.
Well, I'm glad a man came in and told her. She wouldn't have known that she could make a choice on her own otherwise.
And Zayden's like, don't tell her that. She's going to be using this all the fucking time. And
Well, here we go. We got another man's opinion.
I know. Just these men around her fighting over her. And it's nonsense. They finally fuck. Whoa.
Woo!
It's gratuitous.
Mm-hmm.
It's too long.
Mm-hmm.
It's 10 pages.
10 pages of fucking?
10 pages devoted to one act evening time together.
So long.
It is too long.
I've read porn with shorter sex scenes than that.
Yeah, there's erotica stories shorter than this. It is so long and it is so bad. He captured my wrists in one hand and holds them prisoner above my head. Violet, Zayden groans against my mouth. The plea in his tone floods my veins with a whole different form of power.
It's just like talking into her mouth. Like her mouth was just open and she's just like, ah.
Knowing he's just as affected by our attraction as I am is a rush. This isn't what you want. He's moaning into her mouth, telling her this isn't what you want. And he argues with her for multiple paragraphs saying, you don't want me. You don't want this. And she's like, yeah, fuck me.
You don't want none of this, do we?
And she's like, yeah, I do. And he's like, no, you don't. Oh, and it's just, God damn it, get a dick in there and get it over with. I hate this. It's written so badly. They do have a brief, good conversation about birth control.
Okay.
My pulse.
Not my first concern in a fantasy novel where there are dragons. Like, oh, how is birth control handled?
I feel like it's normalized. It helps normalize that discussion, but they're already like taking each other's clothing off. My pulse skyrockets. I take the fertility suppressant. Of course, we both do. The last thing anyone wants are little quadrant babies running around, but it's better said than sorry.
I mean, I agree with that message.
Yeah, like I think
that's a good
this
thing.
Part of it is good.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm happier with that in there than not. It is just kind of funny though.
Here's the thing though. That paragraph is followed by this one. Same. He grips my hips, lifting me for a better angle, and the head of his cock rubs against my clit. I gasp and his eyes lock with mine. The hunger I see etched in every tense line of his body is my undoing. I don't care if it damns us. I need him. So we're having that while his cock is literally almost in her. It kind of feels like maybe that conversation would have been better had when he's moaning into your mouth, not saying you don't want me.
Yeah.
But
or we could have talked about the birth suppressant, while like maybe her and a friend are talking about how sex is handled around here or something.
Well, also she just said, of course he does. We all take it. It's standard practice in the whole school.
Okay, so it's just super normalized.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
that's fine. Fine, whatever. It's a little weird that it was jammed into the scene, but sure. It's got to happen sometime.
I mean, the other people are all having sex too. Everyone's horny.
Yeah.
It's just whatever.
Everyone's got horny dragons.
I guess.
And not everyone's got shield. Everyone's just dry humping furniture because the dragons are having their time of the month.
They're all cats in heat all the time. Because she has gained her power and because she has an orgasm, lightning strikes and she catches stuff on fire. Because
sure.
we have to have a magical sex scene.
So wait a minute, what happens when Zayden comes? Does he like...
His shadows shoot out of his hands and destroy furniture.
Really?
Yeah, it's lame.
So lame.
It's really lame. Because his shadows...
He could have just coated the entire room in darkness or something like that.
I know.
Blue.
It's really lame. Yeah. They all find out she has she has lightning powers. She has to have private lessons with the instructor because you can't just have lightning practice in the middle of a school. And so she has to fly off and practice every day on doing that. That's fine. She doesn't learn how to aim. I think like at one point she's able to aim her lightning at the very end of the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's to like make her not immediately perfect at this, unlike everything else she's done.
Sure.
She decides, we had sex. I'm falling in love. And he's like, I'm not going to fall for you. And she's like, fine, we're not going to have sex until you say you do.
Okay.
And it's
relationship over. I don't.
Fine, okay. But she still is like lusting after him all the time and teasing him in his head with talking about sex and talking about his cock and sucking on him. And she's just mentally DMing him sex stuff all the time now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this is just really immature. Just surely you've been having sex up till now.
She's setting a boundary.
And then breaking it.
Well, setting the boundary, but also at the same time, she's like standing right on the boundary, throwing rocks at him. So, yeah.
I think they're eating breakfast, and she's thinking at him, you're the one with the ridiculous rule about not falling for each other, I remind him. You're still looking. He forces his attention back to his plate. You make it hard to look away. I'm over here keeping my hands and memories to myself because you asked me to, and you're fucking me with your eyes. That's not playing fair. And this is where she kind of like lays it all out. I tap my fork on my plate in pure frustration. You know what? Fuck this. Two can play at this game. If you just man up and admit there's something between us, I would strip down to my skin so you could see every single inch of me. And once I had you begging, I'd drop down to my knees, undo those flight leathers you're wearing, and wrap my lips around, and Xaden chokes. And she's just
bullying him into being in love with her.
Right.
And that's not how things work.
No.
Like, you can't force an emotional connect. Like, if he doesn't have those feelings, you can't sexually manipulate him into having them.
Also, we make him out that he's this bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
He actually has intense trauma from being orphaned as a kid.
Yeah.
And then later we find out...
Because her mom fucking killed his family.
Because her mom killed his family. And he was the oldest of the children who didn't get executed. Yeah. So everyone older than him who was part of these families got murdered. Everyone under 18 didn't. That was their arbitrary cutoff. He was the oldest of them. And he said, don't kill us children. Send us to the dragon school instead. And they said, okay, but we're going to hold you responsible for the behavior of all 171 children. If any of them step out of line, we're going to murder you.
That's fucking unreasonable.
And they lashed him with a whip on his back 171 times. So he has little silver scars all over his back. He's had a traumatic last 5 years.
Right.
He's 23. He is an adult. He's had a really, really rough life. He was only 2 years between the murder of his parents and then going to this school that who knows if he was planning on it because we know nothing about him.
And him being like the bad boy rule breaker doesn't make any sense because he should be like intensely
enforcing the rules.
Right. Because if he doesn't, something could happen to those 171 other people that he's responsible for.
Yeah. And he's like finding them at the school as soon as they come in because they all have these marks on their body. Everyone can see who these kids are. As soon as one gets out of line, it's his head on the line.
Yeah.
And instead, he's making a little posse, making little friend groups with them and being like, keep each other safe and keep each other close.
Yeah.
And he's building himself basically a following of people who are going to be intensely powerful. I think they said the youngest was like born with the scar. Like, I guess they did a cesarean, yanked her out and killed the mom. I don't know how that fucking worked. But the idea is that they range from 18, who was Xaden, to 5 years old, because that was 5 years ago. Mira mentioned that, Violet, you don't know much about Xaden. And she's like, I don't know anything about Xaden except how beautiful his jawline is. So she's like...
she's in love with him.
She desperately loves him.
She's bullying him into being in love with her, even though they really don't know each other.
So she decides to ask him a question every day and get to know him. And she asks him, like, what is your favorite food? It's chocolate. And that's their idea of we're going to create a relationship now after we've had sex and our dragons are bonded. And this is how we're going to force it.
This is so MySpace Messenger coded.
I think the author is a millennial and definitely grew up with a lot of the same stuff.
Right. Because I feel like that's exactly what I did when I was trying to date when I was younger, was just ask asking these inane-ass questions. Like, what's your favorite food or something?
They're very close to graduation now. It's been about a year. Reunification Day is coming up, and that's the day where they celebrate the ending of the rebellion. And there's a big party at the college where all of the generals and her mom and all these people are going to be, and they're all wearing fancy clothes and they're all celebrating. It's a big, big party. She is grieving because it's the anniversary of the death of her brother Brennan. It takes her seeing Liam sad to realize, oh, we're celebrating the death of Liam's parents. We're celebrating the death of Xaden's parents. Oh, they have feelings and they don't feel good today.
Crazy.
You're just now recognizing other people have lives and independent emotions.
Yeah, I mean, discovering empathy, it's a hell of a thing.
And like, she's like, oh my God, I'm sorry, Liam, because he's still her bodyguard. He still follows her everywhere. He's forced to shake the general's hand who murdered his parents.
Yeah.
And he has to stand there and be polite to these people who thought that he should have been killed and probably not sent to a war college where he will gain powers with a dragon.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, wow. Yeah, this is shitty. I just realized other people feel things. And it's like, now?
Just developing theory of mind at 20.
And 70% through the book.
Right.
Xaden is sitting up on that parapet bridge and moping. And so she goes and finds him, climbs on the parapet in a dress in her bare feet, but she's magical now, so she doesn't fall off. And they sit and mope, and she's like, take me to your room. I'm going to make you feel better. So she bullies him into taking her to his room, and they have sex again. And this is her taking care of him and trying to make him feel better. And he is hot and she's hot, so they have hot sex.
Hot sex.
And they have more lightning and more shadows. And
Shadow lightning!
And then they're like, oh, we need to solve that because otherwise everyone will know every time we fuck. And then they wake up with someone banging on the door saying the college is under attack, but it's not. They're just getting pulled together for a new surprise war game, and everyone has to get woke up early because the generals and everyone knows everyone is off having drinks and sex late at night, and they need to get woke up early, dragged out of bed, pulled together really fast to go do a war game.
Wouldn't all the dragons get like psychically pulled? Like, is this trick being pulled on the dragons too?
I wondered about that. If horny humans could affect their dragons. Because at one point, the dragon was hungry and it made her feel hungry.
Right. Well, on top of that, just they're doing this trick like, oh, the college is being attacked. Like, my first thought if I'm a dragon rider is be like, oh, well, I best call my dragon. So do the dragons know about this? Are they pulled in? And
they make all of the students come together and like in a field, and they're like telling them what they need to do and work on. It was just a false alarm to get everyone out of bed. And then they very quickly realize it's just to get us out of bed. It's actually a war game.
So did the dragons know about it is what I'm wondering, though. Because
we don't really know anything that's going on with the dragons. We are inside of her head, focused on herself and these two men fighting over her. And it's a very narrow view most of the time. Like, we really don't find out other stuff that's going on.
Okay.
Because it's really chaotic, every little wing leader guy is like pulling together his own squad. Are you okay? Are you thinking of Lily laughing over wing leader? I don't know why that's funny.
Because it's like if you got like that speech impediment that turns R's into W's, it turns ringleader into wing leader.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. They're needing to replicate reinforcements to an outpost, and each little section is being sent to a separate outpost to reinforce it, and that's part of their thing. And then they will like all gather together as a group somewhere else to fight a fake battle or something. She is technically in Dane's squad, but Xaden comes and pulls her and Liam and a couple other people out of Dane's squad, and because he has rank, he gets to do that. So he like trades with Dane a couple of people. And Dane can't argue about it, but he does. He's like, you can't do this. Violet belongs with me. You can't take her. She belongs with me. And Violet's like, he ranks you, and I'm going with him.
So again, controlling behavior that she's condoning.
Yeah. And Dane goes up and like cups her face in his hand and is like...
She's just like, nah, dude, we're not like this.
Well, he's like, I'll miss you, Violet.
Yeah, okay.
And she's
So
like,
it's still inappropriate.
Okay, bye. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing a battle game thing. Whatever.
We're doing a thing. Yeah.
It's just war games. They get on their dragons and they fly off. They're going past the border to this outpost that's like some flight time away from the border. And they land near a lake and they need a break and they drink water and they have a snack and they kissy, smooch, smooch. And then Griffin riders show up and she's like, oh my God, dragon, get on my dragon fight. And then she looks around and realizes nobody else is upset. And she also realizes everyone else except her is a rebellion kid.
Right.
He managed to trade people so that everyone in his squad was a rebellion.
And nobody thought about that.
And because it was so chaotic and last minute,
mm-hmm.
and that was on purpose from the generals to try to see like how you would do, but also he used it to his advantage because he has been giving weapons to the Griffin Riders and he's not surprised to see her.
Yeah. But I feel like that should be like a very common thing, is to dissolve like any kind of force from within. Like the Roman Empire was really good about that. They would absorb other armies or people from other countries and stuff like that they had taken over, but they would dissolve them and send them to disparate parts of the empire so that there were never too many of them to unite and rebel against.
And
so I don't know why they didn't think to do this kind of thing.
They had been keeping them separate in these other little squads.
Yeah.
And he managed to pull together everyone that he was buddies with who were rebellion
sounds really
kids.
Suspicious. Like, I feel like that would set off some red flags. It should set off alarms.
Okay. We have set along that there's some general who has the ability to see how a battle is going to end.
Mm-hmm.
That's his psychic ability. He sees the ending of battles or something.
So he's got foresight.
Kind of, but it's very specific, like plot specific, I guess. His dragon... I'll explain why.
Yeah, no, I get it.
His dragon is the one that marked the kids of the rebellion with the little tattoo thing.
Okay.
But by doing that, it made it so that he can't see the outcomes of their actions specifically and only.
Seems like a bad idea to have done that. Like for having like magical foresight, that wasn't very forward thinking.
Xaden, like, it's supposed to be if there's 3 or more of them gathered together, he can't see the group at all.
That's so stupid. Why is that an ability that they have?
I don't know why the author made this choice. This is so arbitrary.
Yeah. It's like arbitrary for no reason, and it's just contrived to make this work in their favor.
So that general hasn't seen where they're flying and doesn't know that they've been going and selling weapons to the Griffin Riders because it's only him and the other rebellion kids. And I don't know if that general doesn't know he can't see them or if he's never watched a battle that they would be in, because he's a 3rd year. He's the first one to be graduating from the academy, so they've never really dealt with the rebellion kids before.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been using it as a way to be like, haha, we're shielded, no backsies, I'm on base. And so Violet is utterly betrayed. Oh my God, you're friends with the enemy. You've been selling them weapons.
Yeah, fucking duh.
How you're terrible. Oh, you are bad people, you rebellion kids.
Oh my God, this bad boy is a bad boy.
This bad boy is a bad boy. And he's like, no, it's not like that. You know that book of folklore that Bugs has not talked about despite it coming up every single chapter for the last 35 chapters? That book of folklore is real. Those venom evil wizards are real and Wyvern are real, and we've been giving weapons to our enemies to fight the actual bad guy, the super-powered magical wizards.
What? So there are deep state wizards?
The Venin are the super, super bad guys who can pull magic directly from the earth, and it makes their veins turn black, and they look super scary. And they use their power to create Wyvern, who are dragons with 2 legs instead of 4.
Right.
And those are the ultimate bad guys, and they have been picking off all of Navarre's enemies because Navarre has its nice little border shield, and it doesn't care what happens so long as they're not having to fight the little Griffin Riders.
Okay.
So she's like, oh, betrayal. My country doesn't care about its poor little neighbors getting attacked by other enemies.
So why doesn't the Griffin Rider country, like, sue for peace and focus on war on only one front instead of 2?
That would give the people logical choices that this author didn't think of.
Like fighting a 400-year-long war and at the same time fighting these crazy evil wizards.
And supposedly no one knows Venin exist. No one knows Wyvern exist. But here they're on the border of Navarre, and they have been attacking this village nearby, and the Griffin Riders stopped in to warn them, hey, these guys are a death sentence because they can pull magic out of the earth and zap and kill anyone. The only thing that can kill them is this magic little plot device dagger that has a rune on it, and you can have to get really up close and personal in order to kill them with a little dagger.
That's so lame.
We can't kill them with fire. They're fireproof. We can't kill them with magic. They're magic-proof. The only thing that kills them is a special dagger.
So deep state wizards, and there is no war in Bossing Say. I'm like, maybe 2 Avatar references in this episode. That's wild.
Do you see how I mean trope plus trope? It's just, so this is, oh, I'm betrayed. Xaden didn't tell me. Taryn, you didn't tell me. And he's like, the only bond greater than a human to a dragon is a dragon to its mate.
Gag.
And so because he was bonded with Sagath, and Sagath was bonded to...
And yet, if his rider dies, that he is totally fine with just not telling things and not informing or warning or anything. And if she dies, then he'll die. And not, like, of heartbreak or something. And not stay alive for his mate that he cares so much about.
And they even point out how stupid it was that they didn't tell her before, because she's their historian who knows every book that was ever written. She has memorized entire history texts. She knows the folklore, and she would know how to kill them if they bothered talking to her.
Right.
And she's like, I could have told you all of this mythology. They're like, yeah, that was a mistake. My bad.
So fucking stupid. And no one else just knows some random mythology or anything like that?
She's the special one who got the folklore book her dad
no one's
read
ever
to her.
No one's ever talked to a scribe before her. Or
no
before
one else
they
has
spoke to her.
ever read this book. And her dad wrote a letter that was super cryptic and was like, it only takes 1 generation to destroy history. So this is like some conspiracy theory that everyone is hiding the Venin exist at all, even though they're out there waging war on everyone.
Not being fuck stupid.
And we should have ended the book multiple times.
Yeah.
We should have ended the book when she got her dragon. That should have been volume 1.
Yeah.
We could have even had get powers, have sex, end of book. This could be book 2.
Yeah.
This did not need to be this long. So they're still on their way to the outpost. They get to the outpost. Oh my god, it's empty. The village below them is getting attacked by Venin, and the general knew all about this and sent them there to die. Because he foresaw that Xaden would only take rebellion kids with him, but it wasn't that general, it was somebody else. So what had happened is Dane had been periodically coming up to her and cupping her hands and her face in his hands and stealing her memories. And she knew that Xaden was meeting with the little rebellion kids because she had accidentally seen it. And so Xaden went and told his dad, and they want to kill off the rebellion kids by sending them to the subplot. And that's why he was upset that Violet was going to the border, and he said, goodbye, I miss you. And she's betrayed by Dane too. But she's gonna fight because these poor villagers are running around like little dolls, and we need to rescue this village.
Fuck.
We fight Venin. She gets stabbed by one. It's poisonous. She kills that one. She kills another one. They use time to stop things. They do this. They do that. Big battle. Liam dies. It's sad. The end. Almost.
Oh, okay.
She's
like
poisoned.
really weird to end it on Liam dying. Like, I think
that's like in
there
the
was barely...
second or third to last chapter.
Yeah.
Liam dies.
Okay.
And he's the only character who I liked, but I didn't cry when he died because none of this. I was so ready for this book to be done.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, she's poisoned. She's lost her powers. She can't psychically talk to me anymore. She's paralyzed. She can hear us, so we can write down what she's hearing. But
surely this won't be resolved in like the first 2 chapters of the next book.
She loses consciousness, and Xaden has to decide whether to fly with her body back to Navarre, to Basgiath, or take her somewhere else and get a healer. And he decides to fly with her to this city that he knows about and take her to a healer, and she is healed of the poison. We change narrators.
Oh, God.
To Xaden's point of view.
Oh.
Here in the last chapter of the book.
Cool.
It made me so angry because that's the other thing that happened in Twilight. She went back and rewrote the books from Edward's point of view,
yeah.
which was just a cash grab.
Yeah.
And so we have him sitting there going, the sexy, smart woman. Oh I just want to kiss her. She looks so mad at me.
This character was written so cool, and I'm so attracted to her. My boner's so big.
Yeah. He literally, she's pissed at him, and he wants to kiss her and make it better. Because he is also apparently a child in his brain. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I don't trust you anymore. And he's like, oh, I'll regain your trust. I'm sorry.
I'll ask you 2 questions a day.
They're in this city that got destroyed in the rebellion, and they're rebuilding it, and they can because of can't see me, I'm on base powers. And he's like, will you fight with us? Will you join the revolution? Will you be part of our group with unstated purpose? We don't know what they're doing.
Right.
Originally, we were defending a village. Now he's asking her to commit to some fight that we know nothing about. To commit treason.
Her country.
Yes. Because he is basically having to face killing her now, or if she flies off and tells people, his entire city will get razed, I guess. I don't know.
But if he kills her, then the dominoes fall and he dies.
Right. So I don't know why he doesn't grovel on the floor and beg her to please not go tell anyone.
Or just took her back to Navarro.
That would have been the logical thing to do before this.
It was a flight accident.
Yeah, that would have been the logical thing to do before this. But like the poison turned her veins green and blah, blah, blah. It was very Frodo from Lord of the Rings.
But also you could have just been like, fucking Jack sabotaged her or something like that. And
well, Jack's been dead for a while. But this is like
some other student that no one keeps up with these fucking kids.
Right.
No one knows who's enemies with
she
who
even
now.
Mentioned 10% of the students die in the final battle game.
So why would it be surprising? Like you could have just taken her to Navarre then.
Right. Or if she's ill, why would you heal her, or why would you heal her to where she's not paralyzed anymore? Like why would you try to bring her full back to health when she's such a risk to everything?
Yeah.
Whatever. So she's waking up. She's like, I don't trust you. And he's like, I will work every day to make you trust me. And there's a knock on the door. She turns around and her brother Brennan walks in and says, God. Welcome to the revolution, little sister.
Fine.
And that's the end of the book.
Yeah.
This book was too long. This book had too many words. This book was very repetitive. It needed to be cut in half, and each of those halves slimmed down.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate for editing down to solidify your point and try to keep the things that are important and cut off all this dead weight.
There is so much fat on this. This could be trimmed so much.
Yeah.
And something I didn't even think about until I was searching gaze. She doesn't say look or saw. She says gaze. The definition of gaze means to look at something like for a while, like a steady look. Instead, she says gaze collided all the time. And like it's just really weird. She thinks gaze means look.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I love it.
To be dramatic.
I usually love it when the gays collide. It's always fun.
We had way too much. If you search the word muscle, you'd probably find it 3,000 times. The word jaw, the only way she knows a man to express his emotions is by working his jaw or clenching his jaw or having a jaw.
All men's emotions are in their jaws.
Apparently.
I don't know how you haven't noticed this prior to now.
I know.
Why do you think men grow beards?
To hide their
emotions.
This was poorly done. I do not understand how it had such a huge popularity, bestseller status, and all that stuff that it had. Like, I knew what this book was before I read it. I'd seen it places.
Yeah. I feel like some people just like
it's
tropey
candy.
shit.
I think it's brain candy.
Yeah.
And if you like this, you like it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
This, to me, felt like sitting and eating Tootsie Rolls for 22 hours. And at the end, I wanted to vomit.
So where are we thinking? Like C, D?
Probably a C.
Yeah.
Because we had a narrator, we had things happened, we had a beginning and arguably an end.
Yeah.
I hate that we changed the narrator at the last chapter. That was stupid.
Yeah.
I know a lot of gripes with this book, but honestly, if you want some hot dragon rider fights, that's fine. Not my thing, man.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Not everything is for everyone, and that's okay.
I feel like I tried to pull out the pieces that were really illogical to anyone.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who you'll point out the problems to them, and they'll say, yes, but I still loved it. And I was like, okay. So long as you recognize that some of this was shit, and she did not have good motivation for characters or character arc or anything. Jack Barlow, he hates everyone and wants to kill things that are small. Dane follows every rule he ever found. Yeah. Xaden is hot and bad boy. Like, we're just going to pick trope characters and play with them like Barbies. What did you think?
Well, I mean, I don't think I would have liked it either. It's really tropey, and I'm just not big on tropes and stuff like that. That's like my number one way to like quit reading something is if it's just too much like a lot of other things. I'm just like, there's just nothing for me here. I've already read stuff that's really similar to this.
This is also in the genre of romantasy, which I've never really read before.
Or romantasy. Sorry. Yeah, I don't think I've ever read anything in this particular genre either, so maybe this is like the best of a really bad genre.
It is possible. Yeah. I've read other people mention similar books. There's something called Akatar, which is short for something else.
A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Okay, so you know what that is.
Yeah,
Have you read that?
No. A buddy of mine read it with his wife, and he was super into it, but he also doesn't have any good taste, so...
It's possible if you like that, you'll like this, and that's what your thing is.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah, some people like Game of Thrones, and that's fine.
You liked Game of Thrones.
No.
You read a lot of the books.
I did read all of them.
All of them?
Yeah, I read all of them.
How could you not like them and read all of them?
I also didn't have any taste. I read them when I was 20, and 20-year-olds just don't have any taste.
Well, yeah, I guess if you were 20 also, this might be more attractive.
Yeah, it could be the demographic is just wrong for us.
Possibly.
Because we're both in our 30s, and we're just so jaded.
We're so jaded. And we saw some of the early internet fan fiction, and we saw the Harry Potter stuff, and, shipping, Spock and Kirk, and a lot of that stuff, and it was exciting and interesting when I was 18.
Yeah. Well, it also, changes a lot of how you can appreciate a dish once you know what all goes into the making of it. So, yeah, could be a little bit of that. After you've seen, a lot of these tricks and stuff like that, a magician's trick is going to be inherently a little less interesting after you know how the trick is done.
Yep.
But also, you can go even further than that and learn the trick so well, and you come to appreciate how the trick is interesting again, and why, like, the little nuances of why it's such a clever little illusion.
Right.
So,
which is why I think if this had been trimmed down and cut in half, you could have a couple good solid books. Really do. Which is why a solid C, probably.
Yeah, I feel like C is fair.
Thank you to the Blue Sky user who suggested this book. I would have never in a million years picked up this book. So I appreciate the suggestion. And yes, it was bad. Hold on, I have to give my bad advice for the episode. Go out and bond with a child. God. Go find a baby dragon.
Dragon pedophilia.
And then you think about the fact that she was getting horny from her dragon, and what if it goes reverse?
Oh, it's the baby dragon.
And if the baby dragon was in her thoughts and she was having sex with Aiden.
No.
It's awfully gross there if you go down that path, man. So
I wish we hadn't went down that path. All right, we gotta cut it. Yep.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.